$1.9 million.
Oh my god.
I would like to say I'm probably one of the very few people that has quite literally gambled their house away.
This was my idea. This was the worst idea ever.
Most of the thousands is gone.
I have no money. But it's in the pursuit of more entertainment, more content. In 2 years, I will be making $30 million a year.
How are you gonna make $30 million in 2 years?
Well, that's kind of like arbitrary. But it's gonna happen. Bro,
He's manifesting.
the bigger I go with my content, the more money I'm gonna make, and the more fans I'm gonna bring in. Spending $900,000 on a game show video is just a step.
Behind me, I got 5 convicts, fresh out of one of the most brutal jails in the country. They were released just yesterday. Yeah!
What's the most unethical thing you did in your Japanese game show? Togi, thank you so much for coming on the Iced Coffee Hour. The goal of your very last video was to make $100,000 in 1 week. You ended up losing $2.3 million. What is the logic behind that?
Well, the logic, what exactly, how do you mean logic? So originally, let me remember this correctly, I started the week and I first started to make money playing blackjack. And I was playing blackjack with a watch, I was playing blackjack with a watch dealer and I made $25,000 and then I had $50,000. I was like, great, all I gotta do is have Jesse James West pick the right basketball team. 50-50, even money. And then we're good for the week. And he lost, and that loss put me on like a crazy tilting spiral of losing $2.3 million. And the one thing I wasn't touched on in that video was I was having money problems, not because I needed to make $100,000, but behind the scenes, my next YouTube video was a game show. Yeah, we've got it filmed and everything now, but it was like a really high-end production, like 10 cameras, big arena, Japanese game show, whatever. Production cost $900,000 for that. So I was at production $900,000, and I didn't talk about it in the video, and I was like, yeah, like, haha, I just want to make $100,000, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I need to make $900,000. They need it in 2 weeks. So that's why the bets got so aggressive. I was like, okay, then we'll go play poker, lost $60,000 playing poker, and then I wanted to just like bite this situation in the ass, like call it good, done, whatever. And like, I just need one big bet hit. And the only person that I could think of that would be like willing to do something absurd with me was one of my friends, Steve will do it. So I brought up the idea, like he was doing a video where he's like trying to spend all this money and go crazy. He's back on YouTube. And I was like, dude,
he's got his financial crisis.
This is exciting. This is the first time Togi and Steve will do it are back on YouTube together. I need money. Let's just coin flip for my entire house in Miami because I don't like stay in it too often. I stayed in it one time and whatever. Coin flip lost, and then after that there was like a 0% chance of me making money because I was taking like really aggressive bets. You know, one person, it was funny. They commented on my YouTube video and I go, "This is how I know it's fake because no one would ever bet Puka Nacua over 3 touchdowns. Like that's just an insane bet." At the time I was like, "Oh, whatever. Like it seems like a good bet." So yeah, that whole video we just had to cut it short. Because I couldn't climb out at $2.5 million. Usually we like a nice conclusion.
Did you think you were gonna lose?
No, that's why I took the bet because I thought I was gonna win. And then how cool would that be? I get to pay production, have an extra $100,000 for the week, and you know I'm chilling for. If I made $4 million that day, because that's what really sucks. There's actually a lot of things that suck, right? Because for those of you that never bought a house before, I'm new to this. That was the first house I ever bought. I didn't know. When you have a mortgage on that house, I don't know when you're paying it off. It's going towards interest for the first, like, however long. It's like I'm paying rent in a house that I already own. Because it's, so what, I pay $13,000 for 30 years. You do the math. I'm paying like $5-6 million for a $2 million house. So that sucks. I gotta pay the mortgage on a house that I don't own. And also, it's not like I lost $2 million. It's more like it's opportunity cost. It was either 0 or 4.
Wait a second. So you're continuing to pay the mortgage until the home is paid off?
Yes. I can't just give him the debt.
I thought you would just give him whatever equity the house is.
No, because Steve was putting up $2 million. So why would you just put up $200,000 in equity? That makes no sense.
I thought maybe the home was owned outright, and it's just
no. It's like that bitch has gone like
what the fuck?
9% interest rate.
Are you
9% interest?
Yeah, I think I got fleeced on that whole situation.
You
did refinance it.
refinance it?
Yeah, at least in the
But
fourth.
I have a refinancing crisis because I have another like 1.5 million owed on my house in Texas.
No one wants to loan him money. No
You say
like,
crisis
nice
after
out.
everything. It's just like refinance crisis, financial crisis, income crisis.
Sees him talking about a financial crisis, they're not gonna lend him money.
Well, no, that's the problem. Is I can't. Like, it's really hard to get to these people to deal with me. So, I'm just kind of.
Maybe if you show up wearing something like this with a chain and the Rolls Royce,
With a business plan and
with a
outline,
business plan.
how you're gonna make it back.
I mean, I make a lot of money. Like, I make a ton of money. So, like, really, I'm good for it. But if I will be honest, the idea is like, what's $13,000 a month really? Like, as long as within the next year, I win. Like, there's an event
Yeah.
per se where something.
What do you mean by this?
What
do you mean by win?
Well, anything can happen.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, the way I gamble, like literally anything can happen at any moment, and I'm just like, okay, put it on the back burner. One day I'll pay it all off at once, and then it's like, then done. And you know what was really nice is he gave me his Lamborghini Revolta. It's like $700,000 car, which was like funny because I can't sell it because it was a gift, and I still needed money for the production. And so now it's like, all right, you got this dude with $0 in his bank account. I own 3 Lamborghinis, a Ferrari, 2 Audis, an AMG, a Rolls Royce, and it's just like, I have no money. Oh, it's getting better. That was like a month ago problem. Now things evolve, and I got paid again, and it goes against all the
How-
debt stuff.
How did you spend $900,000 on a game show?
That also might have been a scam. I'm not really sure. I
Yes,
think I exist
yes.
this planet to by everybody.
Who did
Like,
this? Walk us through this. Because
Dude,
Because I've seen Ludwig host these events, and he's hosting insane events, and they're like 500,000.
yeah, I think whoever made it probably made like 200,000-300,000, which is fine enough. Because I was in a time crunch, but it is very cool. It's an arena. I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you later. You'll see it. But it's like this set was as big as a football stadium, and there's 3 very elaborate Japanese games. So it's like event 1, event 2, event 3, big audience. And there were certain things that were very expensive that they were like, hey, by the way, this is like not the best use of money, but very, I was like, it's important. Like, for example, I needed 100 audience members, all to be Chinese. And it's like, to source that was more difficult than you would imagine.
How do you source 100 Chinese people?
I don't know, they did. So, but either way, the point being is that.
What if it's not Chinese people and they're like charging you a Chinese person premium, but it's just people that act like they're Chinese?
Well, that I'm sure some of them are actors, but that's fine because to the camera, as long as they're like fully Asian.
Why couldn't you just ask for Asian people? Why specifically Chinese?
Oh, it was actually Japanese. Excuse me.
Japanese.
I said no Chinese people, no Indian people, Japanese because it's a Japanese game show.
Okay.
So it's awesome.
Why did you want to make, out of all things, a Japanese game show?
Shower thought. I was sitting there. I don't know. But they do them, right? Have you ever seen the clips of a Japanese game show?
Yeah, they're hilarious.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's no Chinese game show. It's like there's the American ones, there's the Japanese ones, are the heavy hitters, and they're like slightly less epical than the American ones. And I thought it was hilarious. Like we should get it. Like the announcer, we flew out from Japan. That was probably like 20,000 just to fly this famous guy out from Japan. He didn't. He showed up. He didn't speak a word of English the whole time. He was on camera yelling in Japanese the whole time. It was hilarious. It was awesome. So there's things like that where it's like, okay, whatever. You spend 40,000 on a host, but that goes a long ways for the content.
What's the most unethical thing you did in your Japanese game show?
Oh well, just the principle of it all could be considered unethical because. So this is, you'll see. It's good. They wanted to be there, right? But I show up to Atlanta and we go. There's a jail in Atlanta. It's like the most brutal jail in Atlanta or in the world. So I've been told, like all the locks on the jail cells are like broken or whatever. So it's like a jungle in there, whatever. So I bail out 5 people, but when I bailed them out, I had like armed security with me, and we're like, okay, congratulations on getting bailed out. Like stay with me. If you want to be bailed out, you have to come with us and compete in this game show. So like they didn't have a choice. It's like either go to jail or do my game show. Which like some people was like, oh okay, that's like maybe. But it's like, dude, they were running up like slippery, lubed up stairs. And this is a good point. I competed in the game show.
Okay.
Because the whole thing is like everyone's like, oh, Mr. Beast is unethical. Like how far will people go for money? I thought it was fun. I did the game show. The Trent Twins did the game show. Steiner did the game show. So it was very fun. Like everyone was having fun. they were going. How we got them there, like the idea of you're either going back to jail or you're competing in the game show, might have crossed some boundaries, but it worked out.
Who was the most hardened criminal?
Wow, they were all pretty. Like,
Do you know what they did?
assault.
So you bailed them out.
So like, potentially a
That's the
rapist
person
is on
that
the
you
streets
picked?
now. Well, I told them, or maybe it was like, bogeys, or something.
What?
Or he beat
Why would
women, or
Why would
something.
you bail
But out of all
these
people,
out?
why
So
would
you gotta understand this. They're not proven guilty yet because they're waiting a trial. They're in jail. Then there's people. There was like armed robbery. A domestic.
What
it
happens
was.
if one of these people gets out and they just reoffend because you bailed
Keeping
them
the
out?
streets. When do they say keeping the streets unsafe for this one? No, bro. Here's the thing. Just because you're in jail because you did an armed robbery, I don't think that makes you a bad person. That just makes you like not very conscious and like most likely an idiot. I've done a plethora of things that would land me in jail. One of them was a drug dealer, and it's like, how do you even? Well, it was. So that's not ideal, but it's like, how do you end up in jail? I think it's because they were all black in Atlanta. Like, I don't think they're bad people. I think the justice system made it very difficult to say, oh, like, okay, not to say, realistically, if I beat the shit out of someone unwarranted, there'd be a very small chance that I land up in jail because of the systems I have in place and all the money.
These are
and
looks
lawyers
nice a little
and-
bit.
Well, yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay. Clive ran over to the dude in the car. He had a very expensive lawyer, was able to get out of it, right? Clive went to jail recently for possession of drugs. Got out of it because he has expensive lawyers. So, my point is that these people, what is up with the system that they're all of a sudden guilty and proven innocent? Why are they in such a brutal jail and they haven't even had trial yet? So, at the very least, like, bail them out, and then if they go to trial, they're still going to go back to jail.
Well, what if they're guilty anyway? What if they did it? It's just they
Well,
can't
then they
afford
go
the
to trial.
expensive
And then they
lawyer.
go to prison.
And then they're going to go back to jail. Well, I just gave them the freedom for the month
Yeah.
grace period until they have their actual trial. So if they're actually guilty,
They're
the
gonna-
only crisis is if they run. And that will cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wait a second. So there is a chance you put up 900,000 and it's going to be more if they don't show up to their court date.
If all of them don't show up to the court date, it'll cost me $400,000. It's about $100,000 each if they run, which is like, bro,
How many? And
they
wait,
were
how
like
many people competed?
5.
5.
So
So
100,000 per person that runs. But yeah.
So 500.
yeah, the odds there. One of them isn't going to show up, most likely.
And
That's
it
the
was like
odds.
an idea like, do we keep armed security with them and hold them hostage? And it was like, just let it go, just let it happen. You know, like that's expensive in itself. So that's kind of dude, just let fate decide that one.
So how much of a return financially do you think you're going to get on this game show?
Well, there's no number that I'm getting at all because I don't monetize my YouTube, but it's in the pursuit of more entertainment, more content. And this is like pushing the envelope for me because I've always been just like a regular vlog, but it's like I'm always trying something new. So it's like if I dabble in this world and I give it my all for the first try, like that's kind of life, right? When you embark on something new, you have to go above and beyond, and you have to be willing to get nothing back, but then all of a sudden a new window of opportunity is open. So the reward is infinite. Because say this game show goes really well, the people really love watching it, then all of a sudden I can maybe double my audience by dabbling with this. It's a test, but the problem is this window of opportunity only opens if I give it my full heart and effort, like with everything. A lot of people want to say, oh, I'm gonna like start a new business because I want to like chase my dreams, but you're still working a 9 to 5 and you only have say 5 productive hours of thought a day of like truly energized, incredible ideas. And then if you're spending all that time working for a dick and then you go home, you're operating at like 10%, you're never gonna be successful. So if I just try to put on this game show, like let's just like dabble, let's just like dip our toes in the water, we'll spend 50,000, put together some slop. Of course, that's gonna fail, and I'm gonna say I'm never gonna embark on game shows because it was. So I had to go all in, whatever it takes, and I will see is this gonna work out. I don't know.
Now, on the topic of finances, I think this is really interesting. You said, and I quote, "I'm sick and tired of this BS, chronically in financial crisis mode." So you do, quote unquote, one last incredible gamble where you coin flip for $2 million. You ended up losing your house. You ended up losing your house on a coin flip. I'm curious, what are the tax consequences of that?
I don't know. Is there some? Isn't it a benefit? You get a write-off of the whole house, I would imagine. I hope.
I don't think you could write off
What?
your house.
No, I don't believe
You can't just take like a $2 million write-off. You gave it away as a
Yeah.
gift. It wasn't like a...
It was a loss, for sure. I can't, surely I can write off like a large degree of that. I was planning on writing off the whole thing.
The problem is right now you could write off gambling losses against gambling gains, but you can only write off, and I believe it's only 90% of your loss. So if you lose $2 million, you could write off 1.8 of that. What you really should be doing is selling the house, so you don't have to pay the interest. Then all of the proceeds go to Steve, and you make him basically $2 million without paying interest on it. Because I guarantee he's not living in the house. It's not like he's going to be staying there, right?
What is happening with the house right now?
I believe it's empty.
Sell the house.
Me.
Yes. Yes. You sell the house, and you give Steve the proceeds of the house.
So how is it?
Sell it on your YouTube. Yeah, just be like, hey,
Oh,
I'm going to sell this house.
to buy it.
What you could do is say on YouTube, I'm going to sell this house, and alongside the sale, we're also going to have a massive party. I'll be partying at this house on this date, and that's a part of the contract of you buying that house.
Okay, this
And then it would
actually
sell at a premium.
An incredible amount of sense to me. Because right now on paper I've gifted Steve will do the house, but what I need to do is sell the house, avoid $4 million of interest,
Correct.
then give Steve $2 million, and then Steve is paying taxes on $2 million.
Yes, because what you're doing right now is basically taking out a loan to pay Steve, and your loan is 9%
Wow! It's already been worth it coming on this podcast.
Yeah.
You just saved me $4 million. Wow, thank you. That's actually
over
incredible.
30 years.
Yeah,
I'll take it, but yeah, sell the house, yeah.
I would never, because that amount of money over that long, like 30 years feels free, like, what, bro, you know, like, that's so long from now, I don't have to deal with that, really. Say I sell it, then $13,000 interest payment, I can invest.
Correct.
This is incredible.
That's all you have to do. And then hire-
nobody told me this.
Hire a really good tax.
Big news
I'm
that
surprised-
somebody lost his house, nobody's been like, oh, like, sell it, and then...
Is no one in your corner telling you what to do financially?
No, Edward, though, where's he at? That's my guy. But everybody, it's fine.
But no one's telling you, like, hey, listen, for tax purposes, you should be doing this. Hey, we need to structure it this way. If you're going to pay Steve, we need to get his, 1099. He's got his
He's literally zoning out. As you're saying that.
No, I'm listening.
How do you not see that?
I'm listening.
Like, there could have been a fly buzzing in front of him.
No, I'm listening, bro. There's nobody doing it, but there's a person that like helps me with this stuff, but he happens to be like also a 23-year-old that's my best friend.
Dude.
Okay, can I...
You gotta check this out. Well, this is good. I can trust him with my life. So it's like, are you gonna? Although he might lose me $3 million by a missed tax loophole situation, there's a billion benefits to having a friend.
We're going to hook you up with Amanda.
Yeah, we have a tax
Amanda.
strategist, Amanda Hahn. In fact,
Yes.
if you want a great tax strategist, we'll also link her down below.
Yeah.
I use Amanda Hahn. She does a great job.
Ah.
And we will tell you, I get no affiliate, I get no referral. It's just out of the good and grace of our hearts. Amanda Hahn's incredible, and so I will hook you up with her. But she will do your taxes. She is phenomenal. She's a tax strategist also. So if you have any financial move, you can reach out to her, and she will hop on a phone call immediately with you and just say, hey, this is the obvious thing to do. Let's do it.
Oh,
So
yeah, that would be
and
great.
she's certified. She's everything. So like you are.
But yeah, I would actually love to get in
You
touch with her.
need to do that because I promise she's going to save you so much
Yeah.
and hassle. Because, like, I'm surprised the IRS is not just, like, cracked down on this, seeing these videos and, like, well, this is a taxable event. You've now received a car as payment that is technically a taxable event.
It's only a matter of time you land at an airport and then you get detained by some federal agents, like Whistling Diesel. It's going to happen.
But okay. Fair. I paid my taxes though for 2024.
How much do you owe? Now, one of the biggest frustrations with traditional debit cards is that they're completely passive. You swipe, money leaves the account, and that's about it. There's no flexibility, no personalization, and no upside for how you're already spending money. But that's where our sponsor, Cash App, comes in. Instead of just being another card in your wallet, it's built to be modern and flexible, especially because you can see and control everything from within the app.
One of the cool features is that you can completely customize your Cash App card, making it totally your own. It's super easy to send money, keep track of your spending, and use it for daily purchases. They've also just launched a new program that really fits how people use their money. Cash App also just released a new status program for the way people really spend their money called Cash App Green. It unlocks new ways for you to pay, get rewarded, and easily grow or manage your money on your terms.
Now when you spend at least $500 a month on the Cash App card or Cash App Pay, you can earn green status, which unlocks benefits like up to $200 of overdraft coverage, higher borrowing limits, and customized personal cashback offers at the places you love to shop.
Turn everyday spending into status with Cash App Green. Download Cash App today or visit cash.app/new to learn more about this or other great features they're launching now. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 when they use code CASHAPP10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within the first 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Green, overdraft coverage, borrow, cashback offers, and promotion provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
I paid my taxes though for 2024.
How much do you owe?
Somehow, whatever this account did, it was great. And it makes a lot of sense because at the end of 2024, I remember being like, where's all my money? Because I pulled in, that year was like $2 million, but I guess I spent $2.1 million. Or something. Or like, along those. Either way, I ended up sending him $60,000 and it's no longer a problem.
I mean, it could be. I'm
Okay.
Yeah, the audit window is 3 years, and you usually know if there's a problem year 2.
But my accountant did say, you're probably going to be audited, we're ready for that.
Okay.
I believe. And then I fired him.
Oh,
We have a different person now.
why? Why did you fire him?
He took too long. Bro, he was
What
like
do you
8
mean
months
he's
late.
wrong?
Oh, I just paid 2024 taxes like 3 months ago.
Why is it his fault?
Because it's like, what are you doing this whole time, dude? You had 8 months to do the taxes? Because I gave him all the information, I believe.
And so what? You were asking him, hey, what's going on? And he's like, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I mean, that makes sense.
Wow.
You just need to have a better tax person. I mean, they can file your taxes, should be bookkeeping, etc. Anyways, enough of that.
Whoa, I feel like I'm moving on in this world, like, as we speak.
You absolutely will, because she's not just a CPA, she's a strategist. So,
I would seriously take it.
Yeah, you're ascending right
yeah,
In everything. This is awesome. Word.
tax maxing is what we can call it.
That's going to be the cool thing, tax maxing.
Okay, after you lost the $2 million in the coin flip, how was the rest of your day?
Very bad. Well, yeah, that was one of the worst days ever. But, yeah, I think I laid in bed for about 2 days, didn't talk to nobody, didn't do nothing, didn't check my phone. But dude, it's like that's the way that she goes. You know, how would you feel if you lost?
I mean, devastated. Yeah, that would be horrible.
Yeah, but my dad always told me, I think I talked about this maybe last time around here, 5 days, no matter what happened, you have 5 days to complain. Sure, you can feel bad for yourself, complain to the world. After day 5, it's like it never happened, go lock in, move on to the next thing, keep chugging forward. So it was 2 days, and then we started filming the YouTube video again.
And did you have a negative net worth at the time?
No, because
Cars.
What? I mean, there is. I probably have $1.5 million of cars alone. I just don't have very many like assets that are moving me in the right direction. Like, but I have maybe like 500,000 on jewelry, $1.5 million of cars, 800,000 equity in
Real estate?
real estate, and then like mortgage aside, if you assume the $4 million of debt on that mortgage, then definitely. But that's a 30-year problem, so that wasn't really like. At the time, I maybe had $1.5 million of personal debt, and then like I was probably worth like $500,000.
After you lost the $2 million.
Yeah.
How would you rate your finances today? 1 to 10.
8.
Oh. So it went a little bit down from last time.
Well, dude, my finances are awesome because how do I say, dude, I have so much. I got the world in my palm.
Yeah, you do.
I can do anything and everything, and in 2 years, I will be making $30 million a year, guaranteed facts. So say if I lost $2 million on that video, but in a video made whatever more people stoked on Togi, more people invested in the Togi timeline, and then you spend 900,000 on the game show, but then the game shows are going really well. It's no problem. Like it's really a drop in the bucket. If I spent $1 million today just to be on this podcast, but then 1,000 people from this podcast are like, oh, I like this Togi. No problem, because one day, it's like what I tell people, they're like having a hard time digesting the idea of quitting your job and working for no money. But the day you quit your job and you start working on a business, you're really getting paid $100,000 an hour, because that money one day when you're getting paid the full salary of owning the business, average it out over the last year. You know what I mean?
How are you going to make $30 million in 2 years?
Well, that's kind of like arbitrary. But it's gonna happen. Bro,
It's manifesting.
if I currently make whatever, I probably get paid maybe like all things considered, maybe I make like 10 to 15 million a year right now, and I don't have anything optimized. I don't have all my businesses optimized. I don't have everything like going exactly how it needs to go, and my audience isn't nearly as big as where it will be one day. Then, dude, 30 million. I don't know where it's coming from. No
That
problem.
is crazy income.
It's right.
How do you make that much money?
Well, dude, so there's 4, 5, 6. I have a supplement company, which has recently been launched.
We'll link it down below.
Really?
Yeah. We'll link it down below.
What's
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice of you guys. Thank you
What?
for the free promo.
I don't even know what the supplement is.
Yeah,
It's
but
incredible.
it's- yeah.
So, no,
It's got 15 active ingredients.
it's all it's all natural stuff. So it's like I've been really on I quit 3 months ago or whatever it might be, and quitting Adderall was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. Really fried dopamine levels, so I became obsessed with like how can I feel better every day, optimize my dopamine, and just like get out of bed pretty much. So did a bunch of research with all these like doctor nerds and stuff, and we came up with a formula that would get me out of bed and happy. But we found that all this stuff, if you take it and you're just like a regular person, you feel incredible. So it has L-tyrosine, which is a precursor to dopamine. So it's like if you're low on sleep or whatever, it's like coffee, but it's like similar to caffeine, but it's a supplement, right? So makes your brain make more dopamine. You feel good. L-theanine is the stuff that's in the Neurovone, but we dose ours. Neurovone got like 80 milligrams. We dose ours the max dose, 400 milligrams. So it gets rid of your anxiety, makes you think more clearly. Alpha GPC, just like good for very neuroprotective, makes you it's a long-term play.
Okay.
Makes you smarter, reaction time increase. Like this is all you can look at the studies. Like
Sure.
it factually makes your brain wire faster. Like whatever. This is not a good. This right here is bad. But either way, it's because I'm still working on it. Rhonda Roselia is another. Either way, the point being is there's a bunch of natural stuff in it that make you feel incredible and productive and motivated to seize the day. So that's what I've been taking, and I feel incredible. And then we have one that makes you sleep better, makes you not hungover, like you take it before you go out,
Sure.
and one that gets rid of your acne. All natural supplements, very exciting. So either way, that has been selling like crazy. I've been incredibly blessed to have this endeavor. So I'm really excited to see that where that takes me. The margin on the supplements are also pretty good. Maybe we make 200%. So
It's fantastic.
To wait 200% margins?
Yes, because
Holy
it's
cow.
like if you get it for $10, but you sell it for $30.
That's
There's your
I mean,
margin,
yeah, that's
you know, or you sell it for
well,
$35
I mean,
shipping and
technically, yeah,
overhead.
sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, but it's still
It's
what's
good.
crazy is
Yeah.
that I make 200%, and my product is still a tighter margin than any other product in the market. Like NutriCost does like thousands of percents, and it's the same ingredients.
Yeah.
They really make it out. They be digging out the ground, putting it.
Sure.
In. Either way, so that's been incredible. I have a clothing line. There's no clothes out right now, but when we do drops, like it's like make $250,000
Sure.
in 5 minutes. But we're getting rid of that, moving into it's a whole thing that is going to be able to do whatever. And then we have obviously the casino sponsorship, which is like the bulk of the money. Like I guess I shouldn't say the exact percentage because they don't want enough people to know how much they're paying me. But it's a lot of money. The casino sponsorship, then the Snapchat revenue, cake
What do you make on
revenue,
Snapchat?
30,000 a month.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's like free, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Snap a picture after this, and it's like good, whatever. And then what did we go over? Supplements, clothes, casino, Snapchat, Kick. I have a Young LA sponsorship, and then that's it.
It's wildly impressive, honestly.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate
It puts it in context now that if you spend 900 grand and you lose it, it's not the end of the world. I mean, that's.
it. Oh yeah, it's no problem. It's
It sounds like a lot of money to me. Like
Yeah,
$900,000 in a game show, but.
Well, you're very rich. You're. Much richer than me.
I don't spend anywhere close to even that in a year.
Dude, when we
In
talked
a
about
year.
this last time,
what are you gonna do with your money?
I spend 2% of it a year. So
Well,
whatever you
that's
have is
cool.
2%.
You know, like
To keep spending 2%.
But then it's like when you die, you have like so much money, and always go.
You pass it on. You could buy a museum. You buy collectibles. Open
No,
up
you're
like
dead.
a.
It doesn't matter. You don't have any of it.
No, because then
you gotta spend on
you
experiences.
could walk in a museum and they're like, oh, this is Graham Stephan's museum. Oh, look at this. There's the car that he had in the background. There's some Pokemon cards
Do you
on the
really
wall.
want the money to go to that?
Yeah,
Or are you just talking?
like
Because it sounds like you're just talking because there's a mic in front of your mouth.
You
I don't think-
open a museum.
I don't think you want it. That's what all of this is for?
You work every single day so hard so you go to a museum. That's absurd.
Stop it. Yeah.
It's like but there seriously has to be like to a degree like it
Okay,
ain't
no,
not say it's any
No,
favors.
in all seriousness, I spend 2% knowing that no matter what happens, my lifestyle never has to decrease. So the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So the- but no, but the market
could blow up in your life because, bro, like you are so far below. You have like the
No.
biggest cushion of all time. Right
No, 2% has never failed throughout history. I can maybe do 2.5%, but this includes like, hey, if the Great Depression hits, if my lifestyle goes up in price, there's a health emergency, like things that come up, I'll be able to maintain.
So two things. That's not counting his income. That's just 2% of the money he has invested.
Yes.
And on top of that, he doesn't spend 2%. It's less than 2%.
But I
Dude, how many crises are
It's
there?
like it's closer to 1%.
Like it would have to be like mother gets cancer, Great Depression,
Yes.
dog breaks his leg,
Yes.
and then you accidentally get in a car crash.
And he has
like,
12 like medically 24/7 kids that need help.
Yeah, with a few lawsuits thrown in.
Does that feel mildly absurd?
No.
To be ready for all of that, but you are sacrificing
No.
so
I don't
much.
feel like I'm sacrificing anything.
Dude, but that's because you're not done it yet. Imagine if you went and right now you just like built a school in Africa. How good would you feel? That whole experience. I guess you don't know exactly how good you'd feel, but that would probably bring you a lot of fulfillment.
I feel like I could get just in the short term. I think the compounding effects right now, early on, I could do so much more 30 years from now than what I'm able to do today.
Okay, that's fair. So like right before you're about to kick the can, you're just gonna like
Yeah,
change the world.
technically, if you want to optimize, age 42 is the best time to start spending more money than you invest.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
So
Based on life expectancy, it's 42 when the compounding effects start to shift in favor of spending now instead of saving.
What's life expectancy? Like 70 something?
Depends on lifestyle, but right now it's about late 70s for men.
Okay.
But they're estimating it could be in the 90s based on medical research.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to use those metrics because I'm
Correct.
I'm gonna live till I'm 110 years old. Like pretty confidently can say that.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe.
What are you basing that off of? Because I think the last thing, not even a year ago when we spoke, you said you were gonna hopefully live to like 30. Maybe
Maybe this
35.
changed. Well, dude, I spend like a ton of money on my health these days, and that was always cool. I remember I used to watch some people would text me, "Yo, Togi, why are you like straight murdering yourself for the pursuit of more?" And I was like, dude, it's fine because you know who did it first is Steve will do it. He used to chug bottles of liquor to whatever, entertain the world, and now he spends 100 to 300,000 a month on just surviving harder and better and like having the most optimized routine and whatnot. So I spend a ton of money on my health. to make sure that everything is in place for me to live forever.
Do you look up to Steve Will Do It in terms of like that's how you want to end up?
I look up to Steve Will Do It in a plethora of examples. Like, you can see it reflect in my content and how I act and whatever, how charitable I am, or how reckless I am, or a lot of the jokes, whatever. It's always been a big role model to me, and that specifically is something I always admire, how tuned in he is with his health.
I will say, Steve Will Do It has always seemed like the most generous part. Like, the sheer amount of generosity that he has in his videos is insane, absurd, and I commend him for it a ton. But also, I do wonder to what extent is it, like, healthy? Now, yeah, I don't want to be, like, peanut gallery, like, chiming in on this or anything, but I also feel like I've heard from some people that it could be a little excessive sometimes. Like, even when he was on Bradley Martin's podcast recently, he was, like, basically holding on for dear life like a bottle of vodka. Like, during the conversation, like, I do wonder how much of this is stemming from him being in like a good spot, which I hope he is.
Well, the really commendable, it's no secret that Steve Will Do It has dealt with a ton of depression over the last few years, but it's almost like he's giving, this is something that's interesting. When you're miserable, it's very hard to imagine that anyone has good intentions, that anyone else is happy, that anyone else is, a good person overall. Like, that's just kind of how it feels when you're miserable. Like, anybody that's viewing that has been, like, genuinely depressed knows that that's what it feels like. But despite that, he says, I'm depressed. I am still going to give away 95 to 110% of my income. And just because someone struggles with, like, drug use or something doesn't take away from the many efforts they have in putting out. If anything, it's more commendable because it's like, this guy is going through a lot, and he's doing very well right now. But I'm speaking on past people do it. He's going through a lot, but he's still, you know how much harder it is for him when you're depressed and you have to now take, instead of one step of, let me just give away this money, you have to take 2 steps. I gotta get up and, like, be willing to be charitable and then give away the money. So if anything, it makes it more spectacular in my eyes.
Although really quick, there is a shift that happens when you stop working on something and you start running a company. Because it's not just about revenue, it's when someone else depends on you for a paycheck. Suddenly, payroll isn't just a task, it's a responsibility. We're talking taxes, filings, compliance. You don't get to guess anymore. And that is where our sponsor, Gusto, is there to help.
Gusto is online payroll and benefit software built for small businesses. It's all-in-one, remote-friendly, and incredibly easy to use so you can pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere. It's kind of funny because I've actually used Gusto long before they ever offered to sponsor this podcast. In fact, when I built my first ever S-Corp 6 years ago, who did I use? None other but Gusto. And who do I use to this day? None other but Gusto, because they are really that good. Honestly, things like tax filings, benefits, deadlines, all of that stuff is so overwhelming. But Gusto has walked me through everything, step by step by step, over all of the years, and I've been using them ever since.
They take care of payroll taxes automatically, and you get unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price. There are no surprise fees, which honestly takes a lot of the stress off.
And if you ever have HR questions that you're just unsure about, Gusto will connect you with certified HR experts, which is just a huge help when you're trying to do things the right way.
It's also really quick to switch, and you don't pay a single cent until your first payroll.
So try Gusto today at gusto.com/iced and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That is 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/iced.
One more time, gusto.com/iced.
What do you think's going on with Steve now?
What do I think is going on with Steve right now? He's doing very well. He's very, very, very. I've never seen him so motivated. So it's really really exciting to see. Because before when he didn't have his YouTube, he just felt very lost in everything. But now it's incredible. Like, he has like a billion schemes and plans. I'll get on the phone with Steve and I won't get a word out for an hour straight. He'll just be talking about, this is how I'm going to do this, and this is the strategy with this. Like, there's a ton of strategy and all the things that he does, very critical with his movements, and I think he's going to take over the world in the next 5 years. I think he's going to be past his past prime.
What about giving away all the cars to, like, Corinna and stuff? Like, some of us could see that as, like, being financially irresponsible, but if he's really crushing it, like, he was making a ton of money, then that is totally within reason.
No, he doesn't have any more money. It's insane. It's awesome. Because he actually he gave away $500,000 on one of his YouTube videos. He's on a payment plan with the winner. He sends them money every month until he's out of debt that he gifted to them pretty much.
Why go to that degree? Because he could
Because
achieve.
Steve will do it.
He could achieve
That's-
the same effect, giving away half of his income.
No, but that's not how. Yes, in the eyes of us, practically speaking, if you gave away 200,000 instead of 500,000 in that video, it would have been identical. But the reason he's so spectacular, so successful, is because there was never that ceiling. And so when you are willing to go above and beyond on whatever, like drinking alcohol, sure, that is going to ROI like crazy. Like, go crazy above and beyond. But he doesn't have that line on anything in his life, and that's just part of being Steve will do it. It's not all, like, you can't pick and choose where you have a ceiling. He's just like on Mars 24/7.
Well, I commend it. I've always been really impressed by Steve. He seems like an incredible guy. Grant's always been like a super
I've been
fan
super fan
of
of
Steve.
Ever since his Instagram days.
Really?
Yeah. Because
You
I
know-
followed Nelk since the very beginning. So I saw Steve's first videos through Nelk. Instantly subscribed.
He's well, I don't want to speak poorly on him, but he's definitely the most entertaining Nell character there's ever been. Like,
Well, not even that, it's just like YouTube in general. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so entertaining.
this morning he I woke up to a text this morning, and it was him. I guess he won a bunch of money the other night. He goes, "Oh, do you want a loan?" Like, I didn't even ask for a loan. He goes, "Do you want a loan?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. Like, I'll take 30,000." He sent me 30,000. I put it on a 3-team soccer parlay. I'm gonna pull this up right now. This is awesome. He sent me 30,000. I put it on. This is the text with me and him. I put it on a 3-team soccer parlay. It paid $250,000. I sent him back 100,000, and I just got 120,000 for free today. Like, how cool is that? It's like,
Holy
it all works out. That's what gambling is all about, you know.
Why do you need to borrow money?
Well, I didn't necessarily need to borrow that money. He just was like, "Oh, do you want it?"
And how do those taxes work out if he sends you that money and then you send him more money back and then like the loan? Because
Dude, you gotta stop asking me about taxes. I have no idea.
But shouldn't there technically,
no
there
idea.
has to be technically interest on a loan. There's like a
Does
fair
there?
value clause or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, where it has to be like the fair market interest rates.
Oh, I don't know.
Technically, but nobody does that.
Okay, so it doesn't. Okay,
It really depends on what the transaction is. But in that, if like, hey, can I borrow 30K? Yeah, all right, I'll pay it back. Usually, you don't.
I mean, that's insane. So you didn't even need to borrow the 30K. You just did it because why not? You put it on solid.
Well, it's not like I have 30K laying around. My current finances are really tight because I am on a payment plan with Alex G. I'm on a payment plan with the production. I have another video after this that costs 500,000. Like, there's a ton of things that I owe money towards. I gotta buy this some European dude. I was drunk one night gambling, borrowed 130 racks from him, lost it, whatever. Now it's like, obviously he wants his money back, so he's buying a car, so I'm sending a wire out tomorrow to pay for his car. Like, there's a lot of things. So I really don't have any extra money just like sitting around. So that was really nice that he knows that I don't have a ton of money. He doesn't have a ton of money right now either. He's like, "Oh, you want a loan?" Like, whatever.
Does anyone ever get worried about not getting paid back? Because all of these are unsecured loans, as far as I'm concerned.
No, people. I've never had anybody been concerned. I never had anybody even text me like, "Oh, that's actually a good point. I owe the jeweler this chain. I don't even know what I write yet. Like, I still owe him like 100-something thousand for it." But either way, nobody has ever given me a hard time because I've never not paid back loans, and I'm like the loan. Like, Steve sent me 30, I sent him 100 back. The interest on a Toby loan is insane, and I've never defaulted on a loan, and I never would. I would rather. I owed some of my employees like 50,000 a few months ago, and I started selling watches to pay them. I would rather like sell all my stuff than not pay somebody back. And I have such a high income, and it's no secret that people are like, "All right, feel pretty safe."
Who's the best person to borrow money from?
Steve will do it. Dude, Steve will do it because he gets it. You know, like I won't pay him back for literally like 5 months, and he sometimes he just like he's like, "Dude, you know what? It's been so long, don't even worry about it." I'm like, what? Like, I'll pay you back.
Isn't Steve also borrowing money from other people? So Steve is borrowing
Yeah, like,
money, and
he's
he's
like
like you the
you.
money that he borrowed?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Not necessarily. He is like a blue chip, as in you could give money to Steve, and it's for 10 years he's always paid back loans. So he's really, really. And then to me, it's like if I need a loan, the first person I'm texting is Steve will do it, just because he understands sometimes you get a loan and then you gamble it away typically and then you need time to like figure out how to pay it back.
But I saw Steve will do it posting that he borrowed money from this guy Alex, and then Alex is saying that he's not gotten paid back from Steve yet, but it's okay. He trusts Steve, but he's like, but Steve, it's been like 3 months now, and I've not gotten paid back. What's going on? But I trust you, Steve. But like, it's been.
This is beyond that, right?
Yeah, it's far
beyond that.
Sure.
I get offered frequently over 6 figures just for me to show face at something or show face on your stream, or they want an Instagram story, they give me 200,000. I never do that kind of stuff. But the point is, the easiest way to get into somebody's life and get them to like you, like somebody like Steve will do it, is he's blue chip, whatever. You just have to loan him money because he's not going to take a payment from you for something in return. But if you're just, oh yeah, I'll loan you money, ask for nothing in return. Now it's like networking, right? It's like risky networking. Now all of a sudden, boom, you hang out with Steve and do it. You know.
What are some of the craziest money opportunities you had?
With a $50,000 a month for the Zyn thing for 3 Snapchats was not Zyn itself, but whatever. That was pretty crazy. 2 weeks ago, somebody offered me $350,000 to do a 4-hour-long stream on their channel. I just had to sit there and be like excited.
You did?
No, of course not.
Why not?
Dude, maybe he's a... Like, there's so many things that could go wrong in doing business that I don't know.
Do you know who it is?
No. It was like some small streamer.
Who is it?
You know?
Can you just say?
No,
I mean,
I
we'll
can check his
leave
name.
that.
I'll check his name and let you guys know after, but you wouldn't know. Like,
Yeah, but you can't actually be worried that they're.
Well, the point is, I never.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so turned off by the idea of like going out of my way to do something that like is not benefiting my career. Like $300,000 is not excelling me to where I need to be. If I take that flight to go out somewhere and then like go on a stream, it's like a net overall like a huge pain in my ass. Where I'd rather spend that time here. Like I made $3 million today. You know how crazy that is? You guys gave me one piece of advice and it saved me $3-4 million. Like there's so many better ways to spend your time than. And then you do the stream with the guy, and then it's like they think. I don't know. It's just like I don't want my network to be bigger with people that aren't really gonna bring much. Like being friends with you guys, obviously I like you guys, but you guys can teach me the world. Like I would pay money just to hang out with you guys because it's so valuable. But that is like, what am I getting out of that?
I wish that you would just give me access to your finances and just control them. Anytime you need money, I'm just there like, maybe we don't need this much. Let's dial it back a little bit, or I'm just taking money off the top and just investing it in an account, and then you
wouldn't even notice it. All you have to do is give Graham and I POA, and then we'll take.
No. But
all invested.
We are not living on the same planet. You live in a world where it is not appropriate to spend $900,000 on a video, and you spend 2.5. There's such
we wouldn't even veto. We wouldn't veto anything.
No, but the veto always comes in. It's like, oh, we don't have any money, and it's like, where's the money? Secretly, it's invested and growing for me. I don't want it to be growing invested.
It wouldn't be, but maybe we could take the 900 down to 700, and you don't even know. Or maybe right now we could say, hey, listen, Togi, you have $4 million invested in a Schwab account right now. Just a heads up, so like, we're not gonna touch it, but it's there.
Then Togi would.
Do you know how fast that money would get pulled out of that account? Like the problem is, I'm in a position where I think you guys are more well versed in finance than me, but I have a firm belief that I can do everything better than everyone, and that's obviously not the case. But it's never failed me once that it's like, just do it yourself. I manage all my deals. I manage all my finances. And it's like working out in a positive direction. And that's the mentality I think everyone should have because I respect you guys, but also it's your first time being alive too. And a lot of people are scared to embark on something spectacular because there's a lot of judgment from the world that this isn't going to be. They have to remember that it's everybody's first time being alive. So if you can rely on anything, it's kind of like your own ideas and your mother, because that's your mom and whatnot. Everybody else's ideas, more or less, can go out the window, and if you're fully invested in just your ideas, you're guaranteed to be successful.
That's
pretty deep. Yeah, that was. It sounds like it's not your first time being alive. Because that was great.
Oh,
That's also assuming when you're giving him that offer of like, hey, I'll seize control of your finances and like take some money off the side and invest in stuff, that's even something that he wants. Like if you offered him, hey Togi, like can I save you an extra $200,000 a month, you might even just say no. And if that's the case, if it's like as simple an offer as that, and he says no, then there's no middle ground. There is no bridging that gap. So
That's true. Who's the worst person to borrow money from?
Probably like the credit card companies, the casino kind of bust my balls sometimes. They don't come at me too hard, but like I had a friend and he borrowed $30,000 from the credit card company, and then he invested in a meme coin and like whatever. It didn't like work out and whatnot. And now he's like stuck on these payments incredibly. He's at 25% interest. Like,
why don't you pay off his thing? And then
I offered, and he was
okay,
like,
20%, 15%.
no, I offered to pay it off, pay him back whenever you want. But he was like, this is my own battle. Like, I took a bad loan, and I have to like reap the consequences. A lot of my friends are more or less not sick, but I offer my help so frequently, and they think it takes away from their own personal growth. So I have my best friend. He's the one we talked about last time, lost his life savings, gambling, whatever. He's still a huge drug addict, gambling addict, and he currently lives in a shack in the backyard of some strangers in LA, whatever. He pays $400 a month in rent. It's cool, and I go, hey, I have a mansion in Texas. You can live with me for free. No problem. This is Udi for you guys. They know him. And he's like, no, dude, because I feel like my whole life I've been living with Togi, and I get to live the Togi life. We get to go private jets and do a bunch of drugs and parties and like really nice things. But then it's like he just gets life on free mode. So he was sick and tired of not seeing the success that he wanted. He said, the only thing that's going to make me log in is if I stop getting so much stuff for free. So all my friends are pretty much on the same page. None of them take any amount of handout, even though I'm like dying to give it to all of them.
So how much do you think you spend a month?
Well, last month the Amex was $300,000, and the Amex we saved for flights, hotel rooms, and dinners. $300,000 is probably like the baseline for. Well, that was like higher than usual, but that's like $300,000 for living, and then production of videos and whatever goes into my brands. I probably spend on average maybe $1 million a month. So what's expensive? $900,000 a video. The next week was $500,000. I lost 2.3 on the video before that. The video before that was actually Streamline. It wasn't that expensive. But the point being is making YouTube videos. It really adds up. I like nice things, and I like giving away money. This is like
it blows my mind.
Dude, but it's so incredible to. I guess there's nothing like being young and spending a lot of money. Like, sure, maybe was it not worth it to like fundamentally to spend $30,000 at a dinner, but those I cherish those memories a ton, and the experience of driving a supercar. Like I tell everybody, if you're young and you have $40,000 to your name, you should probably just take out a loan and buy your dream car, because that experience alone is just as good as like any drug, any amount of sex. It's like pure bliss, rather than investing your $40,000 one day, you have $400,000, but then you're a 45-year-old and you just got your first Porsche. Like that sounds like it sucks.
Do you think there is any downside to this lifestyle?
No, 0%. Because listen, I have lived in my lifetime enough experience, more experiences than 99% of the world has lived in their entire life just by playing it safe.
This guy's
If I died
delusional,
today,
man.
It still would feel like I lived 10 lives, and by the end of my life, I'll have so much
It's frozen?
experience and wisdom.
Okay, I
and
didn't see that.
phenomenal memories. That the goal is period. The goal is that when I die, there's not an ounce of regret. Like that's how I approach every single day. Is making sure I did anything and everything, so at no point I'm laying there like, damn, I wish I had embarked on that, or I wish I took that risk, because you don't get another chance.
Do you think you could ever go back to having a normal life after this?
If I had to, yeah, but it would be, there's no such thing as normal to me, in the sense that when I was in the frat, we would still be doing, one of my first things, I only had a Subaru. I sold it to gamble it, to get more money to gamble. Whatever it might be, there's always schemes, there's always random stuff, and it keeps life so potent that I would never want it any other way. And I would say overall, I'm like really happy with how I don't think I've ever made a mistake in my life. I think everything is as it should be.
But what about the dopamine maxing? We spoke about this last time, how if you constantly have these huge spikes and then cliffs that you fall off of in terms of just overall dopamine and serotonin, don't you think that at a certain point it can make you numb to everyday life things? Like,
Oh, that was a huge crisis for me. I talked about this when I was doing a lot of drugs. That I could probably give, not me literally, I could have a child, and it would be like, okay, that was alright. Like, I wouldn't even be that excited about it, just for the drugs. But I've eliminated the drugs, and that's also, deep down, I know part of the reason I come from my house is because I've been gambling a lot more since getting sober, because that's like, at that time, I was like, not quite as distanced from that. So I literally felt nothing. Like, every day I was just like, bro, I don't feel anything. And that was the most, for that 4 seconds, when the coin was in the air, I had never felt so alive. And then I landed, lost, whatever, depression. But the point is that gambling was able to give me, finally, the dopamine hit that I couldn't get from anything. That's why I think rehab doesn't work. Very low success rates at rehab centers because it's a scam. You go in there and you say, I'm withdrawn, and it's ran by a lot of people that have never dealt with drug addiction in their life. It's like, oh, I'm coming off the... And they go, oh yeah, like, go ride this horse, go on a hike. That is not going to feel good at all. That is not going to do it for me. You need, like, things that are potent in order to get off the drugs, and it's been a proven method, because now I wake up out of bed and I'm excited to go do regular things again by utilizing high-stakes gambling. So if they had high-stakes gambling in rehab centers, people would be less likely to give up and go back to drugs, because there's something it's a stepping stool of potency. And now that my dopamine is returning a little more to normal, I go to bed. I used to go to bed. It would be my favorite part of the day would be to go to bed because I didn't want to be awake. You know, I was like, I finally get to have, like, so I get to live in the dream world. It's exciting. Now I'm off the drugs. I use gambling, and I still use gambling to get off the drugs. I'm scared to go to bed because I'm so excited to wake up the next day. I wish I could never go to bed. I'm so excited to wake up the next day and take my Evo brain stack and drink my caffeine and seize the day, even if it's something that's more boring, like just planning a video or hopping on a call. Because this is a good method, I've started placing a parlay every day. So there's always a lingering thing. It's like a coat hanger of dopamine that holds me up. So I always have at least $10,000 on a parlay, and I always have the opportunity to win $250,000 to $1 million. And that way, no matter what, even if you lose, it's like caffeine. And this is not a joke at all. It's like caffeine that's always there, but actual potent caffeine. You have the opportunity to win $1 million. Is it a losing game? Yes, but I'm paying to feel alive and happy to do my meetings without drugs.
Isn't that a problem, though, to feel like you have to pay to be happy to do the meetings?
But that's I did the damage, and now it's like time to pay
So now you're
the
paying
price, and that's the problem. You know, you did so many drugs and you threw dopamine, but it's rapidly recovering. Now it feels like maybe in a month I'll be able to go every other day, place a parlay. And in 2 months, maybe once a week, I place a parlay. Like, it's like weaning off of the, whatever they give the people when it's coming off. It's a stepping stool. So this is just a stepping stool, and I really think that this is going to be a good solution.
Could a gambling addiction be as destructive as being addicted to drugs, though?
Never in a million years. If you gambled away, well, I would like to say I'm probably one of the very few people that has quite literally gambled their house away. Like, everyone like jokes about, like, oh, I gambled the house away. I gamble. It's very hard to gamble your house away. And I've had instances where I'm really drunk. I've tried to sell equity in companies for crypto. I've tried to sell houses for crypto. It's not, you need lawyers. It's just not going to work. So it's fairly difficult to gamble. Your house, like something that's going to be irreversible, and it's also very difficult for a person to get significant debt. Like, the stars have to align so perfectly for a gambling addiction to destroy your life. And if you are addicted to gambling to that degree where it's destroying your life, I don't want to be rude, you are a pussy. Because try taking, you think you have to gamble every day. You think you wake up and you're like, oh, I gotta gamble. Try taking every single day for 30 days and coming off that, and you're having seizures, you can't walk, throwing up anytime you smell water. Like, it's mind-blowingly so much more difficult to get off of drugs. You cannot function as an adult when you're addicted to drugs. Gambling, dude, just stop gambling. There's no like physical withdrawal. It's all a mental thing, right? And you can also go about your day. There's not. You can be gambling and productive, and if you claim that gambling is preventing you from being productive, you're lying to yourself. You absolutely
I think
can't.
maybe the gambling, you're able to do this and say that because you have the income to be able to just keep gambling.
Well, but here, this is the thing. I used to gamble before I had high income. I would be gambling like extremely, extremely high stakes, whatever. The only time you're not conscious is when you're doing drugs. If you're losing again and again too much gambling, that makes you an idiot. And you can blame an addiction. You're aware of what's going on unless you're doing drugs, obviously. But gambling sober, at a certain point, you have to learn your lesson, or you can't blame anyone but yourself. If you're on drugs, it's a different story because the drugs do talking for you. I've never met somebody that, like, eventually you're going to lock in.
Which drug has the worst withdrawals?
Sir, probably, I would say. Because in my personal experience, I've battled that withdrawal like more aggressively than both of them can kill you. The withdrawal I disliked because it gave me like chronic panic attacks for like 6 months. So I had never had a panic attack before, and I have genetic testing where it's like I have baseline 0 anxiety, and any anxiety I feel is strictly situational. Like, it's impossible for me to feel anxiety, which is a huge blessing to have that genetic trait. Never had a panic attack, could never relate to people, and then I got addicted to, and then after coming off of it, you're, like, living in fear that you're gonna have a seizure, you feel just like, and then for 6 months after, I would like, even I'd walk into a room with my friends, like, I would never be able to come on a podcast, let alone, like, I would go on a date, and then, like, 2 minutes in the day, like, I gotta go, because you just have a panic attack, and it sucks. So, anybody that's looking to get addicted, I would say, do not.
What was the lowest low that you've hit?
You know what's really interesting? This is fascinating. I have believed, so I dropped out of college, whatever. I was doing a ton of drugs, and I was not successful. And to people living in your friend's basement, doing drugs every day, seems to be like rock bottom. But to me, that wasn't even close to rock bottom because I had a goal. Although I was depressed and I was doing drugs every day, I said, I'm going to make it one day. And I had a specific goal in mind. I'm going to get famous. I'm going to get attention, and I'm going to make money off of working out and doing something that I love. So even though I had nothing, I had a goal. But then I gained the world. That being, I had millions of dollars. I had the physique that I wanted. I was on all the steroids. I was very, very successful to other people. But then I overdosed. I almost died. That was real rock bottom for me, which is crazy that rock bottom looks so different for everybody, because I was accomplishing like every male stereotype's dream, like tons of girls, tons of drugs, muscles, whatever, money, everything. But it was rock bottom because my God was drugs, and it felt like it was so depressing because it's like, where now, right? I have everything, and I almost just died, and I still just want to do drugs. There's no up from here. Like, life forever is going to be terrible because my only goal that I had since a young kid I accomplished, and I still felt not happy.
You had something to lose. And when
Not even something to lose, I had no more to gain.
So that was the scary part.
That's...
Yeah, it's kind of like game over at that point. It's like, now what do you do?
Yeah.
But you don't feel that way anymore.
No.
And how much do you think the drugs were clouding your judgment on what you had to gain and what you didn't? And what have you noticed getting sober change in your life outside of
Well,
just
you
like
have
the
to-
ups and downs of drugs?
What happened first was I found God. So I'm a Christian now, and I love Jesus Christ, right? I tried to get off drugs a billion times, could never get off of drugs. I was living for things of this world. All I wanted was more money, more drugs, higher quality drugs, more girls. That's going to make me happy. More attention. I used to be like a slave to my audience, my views. Like, whatever is getting me more views, that's really important. But this is something that, a phrase that I really like. It's like, if you live by their praise, you'll die by their rejection. And so many people are so quick, especially in today. Like, people that love you 1 week ago are the same people that are talking shit about you, want nothing to do with you the next week. So it was such an emotional roller coaster, constant anxiety of, how do I find my fulfillment? Like, because I'm relying on you guys. The only thing that ever helped me get sober, and the only reason I was able to get sober, I tried hundreds of times, was finding fulfillment from within and my connection with Jesus Christ. That's the only way you can truly, in my experience, right? I don't know, whatever. In my experience, the only thing that has brought me true peace is my relationship with God.
Now here's what I've noticed. When your business grows, hiring usually turns into one of the toughest challenges. It's more than just getting applications. It's about getting people with the right skills who could jump in and make a difference right away.
A growing trend is skill-based hiring, which is looking at what candidates can actually do rather than just their background or education. This can help make the hiring process faster and more effective.
That is where our sponsor, ZipRecruiter, comes in. ZipRecruiter is a hiring platform that helps businesses find qualified candidates more easily.
One useful feature is that ZipRecruiter suggests screening questions you can add right into your job posts. This, of course, helps you spot the applicants with the exact skills you need.
ZipRecruiter also uses matching technology to quickly show you qualified candidates. That way you spend less time sorting through applications and more time on the right people.
You can even filter for candidates who have been active recently, so you can focus on the people who are ready to take the next step.
So let ZipRecruiter help you find amazing candidates with the skills that you seek. Plus, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And now you can try it for free when you go to ZipRecruiter.com/ICH. Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/ICH. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Now, really quick, when Jack and I first started the Iced Coffee Hour, we were learning everything ourselves on the fly. I'm talking, we're sitting there Googling the best cameras to use, the best editing equipment, how to try to get guests and sponsors. Every day was a new challenge. That's why, if you're starting or growing your own business, you know how valuable today's sponsor is, and that would be Shopify.
Shopify is basically an all-in-one business platform. They power millions of businesses worldwide, from major brands like Mattel and Gymshark to everyday entrepreneurs that are just getting started. And here's just an insane fact. You've actually already used Shopify. You may not know it, but you definitely have if you've ever shopped online in the US, because they power about 10% of all American e-commerce.
One of the best things about Shopify is that they have a complete design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates to build a beautiful online store that perfectly matches your brand. There's no coding needed. And their AI tools even help you write product descriptions or enhance your product photos.
And if you're worried, like most businesses are, about getting exposure to your product or service, don't be, because Shopify has incredible marketing campaigns that reach customers wherever they're scrolling. They also handle literally everything from inventory to shipping to returns, which is all of the complicated stuff you realistically do not want to deal with.
Start your business today with the industry's best business partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for a $1 a month trial when you go to shopify.com/ICH. Again, that is shopify.com/ICH with a link down below in the description. Shopify.com/ICH.
Thank you so much to Shopify for sponsoring this episode.
How did you find God?
Do you guys know who Bryce Crawford is?
Mm-hmm.
It was a crazy, because I was always curious. I was agnostic, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, whatever, there's a God. This world is too spectacular. There's no way that this is all this craziness is a coincidence. But I can't ever, like, talk to God. I don't understand, like, how I can build that relationship. And I didn't even know where to start, right? So there was a day where I never mess up my pills. Like, I got all my pill bottles, like, perfectly in line. And there's one pill that you take when you're taking testosterone to drop your estrogen. And for me, it was Arimidex, A-Dex. So I grabbed my pill bottle, but I grabbed the wrong one. I accidentally grabbed a bottle of Aromacin, which is A-Syn. And that one is a whole different drug. I accidentally take a whole pill of A-Syn, which made me, like, super depressed, which is really bizarre, because I would never
take the wrong pill. Like in a million years, that just like would never happen. Somehow I took the wrong pill, crazy depressed, and then I saw a Bryce Crawford reel and I was like, that guy looks like he knows what he's doing. Like, bro, how do I have 10 times more money than him, 10 times more muscles, 10 times more whatever, 10 times more everything of this world, and he is stoked on life. Another guy, he got he was on my For You page, he had cancer. He got diagnosed for the cancer with the 4th time. He goes,
Oh, I know who you're talking
I just got diagnosed with cancer for the 4th time, and this is perfect. This is amazing. This is just how it's meant to be. And I'm like, dude, I need whatever this dude's smoking, because this is crazy. How is he so stoked, and his hand of cards that he got dealt was quite literally infinitely worse than mine? I am missing out on something huge here. So that's when I was like, okay, I got to DM Bryce Crawford. I DM Bryce Crawford, and he responded in like 2 seconds. For some reason, he was already looking at his DMs. And then 3 days later, I went on his podcast, and he was able to lead me in the right direction of how can I take the first step in building a relationship with God. And ever since that day, it's like the clouds have been cleared. I don't even look at life through the same lens, because I've been put on the right path of building a relationship with God by Bryce Crawford.
That's interesting that it was a sin as well
Yeah.
that you took on the day.
I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
I also
I thought
noticed
you
one-
meant that because it was like a sin.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't put those pieces together.
I
at all.
thought that was a
It's
part of the
mind-blowing.
story. Like you took a sin, and that was.
No, I
And on
should.
top
Next
of
time I
that,
tell that story. Now I know.
the beginning, like the inflection point of your video where you started losing money, was in that poker game, and it was that hand where the flop came and it was 666.
666.
And I was like, well, hold on a second. Like after I knew you'd already kind of turned a new leaf, and I saw that with the ASIN thing, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's it feels as if for me, God reveals Himself to everybody. That's just like in one way or another. That's like how He is. Seems like to me, I was missing the mark by like so much. Like He's calling for Togi, like walk with me, trust me. I'm giving you the signs, and I was just like, whatever, ignoring everything. I almost died. And then the next day I did more drugs because I was like, whatever, I guess I got lucky. That night when I was having, like, I was having seizures for like 4 hours straight. There was like a 40% chance I died that night. So it was like, you know, to me I was like, okay, whatever. If anything, I was on the winning side of that coin. Like, I was going to survive either way. But things like that, like, God has been calling at me so aggressively in life. So many like small signs like this. Maybe a lot of people write them off or whatever. But eventually he just had to like be like, okay, you're taking a sin. You're getting depressed. We're going to bring Bryce Crawford in your life. So I've been super lucky to have that entire experience. And now I feel, yeah, like I said, the smoke is cleared. The lens I see the world is completely different now.
And what about your health? How are you taking care of yourself? How's your blood work?
Oh, dude, this is good. I got my blood work done yesterday. We'll see how it comes back. My blood work is exponentially better than it used to be, and a big person that used to make fun of me was Greg Doucette.
Yeah.
Because he, you know, whatever, is all on his high horse. I'm so healthy, and I know every time I'm a coach, whatever. And he would make fun of me to the world, like use me as an example. Like, don't be like this guy, you're going to die, yada, yada, yada. He's going to die, he's going to die. And now I can say with 100% confidence, my blood work is better than Greg Doucette. My blood pressure, better than Greg Doucette. If he's 70, yes, sure. He's like, whatever. How old is he? He's 50.
He's in his 40s.
Either
I think
way.
he's 29.
There's no way. But either way, the point being is obviously I should have better blood work, but it was like a fun opponent. And obviously he's a good guy and he's always been rooting for me. But it was like an opponent in my mind. I've always like, I want better blood work than Greg Doucette. So either way, the first thing getting more healthy was no more steroids, no more hard drugs. That has gone a long ways. And then there's things like on top of that, I don't want to sound like every other young male, but it's like all the peptides, the hyperbaric chambers, the red light bed. There's a lot of things that I am putting into my body now that are natural and supposed to be there that are helping me recover from the years and years and years of drug abuse. But the main thing, the best 3 things for your health is stop doing hard drugs, stop doing high doses of anabolic steroids, and sleep 9 hours a day.
Guess what? I texted Greg Doucette. I have not seen this video. He has a video he wants to show you.
No, yeah, that's it.
I don't know what it is.
Greg, I know that you're watching this, and I'm very much looking forward to your reaction.
Togi, how does it feel to no longer be the world's worst fitness influencer and to have that title rendered over to Clavicular? And do you agree with me? Is Clavicular the worst fitness influencer in the world, or is it somebody else?
Wow.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. Love you, Greg. Thank you.
I love how Greg makes so many appearances
Yeah.
throughout the
Yeah.
podcast.
He's like a third host, basically.
Greg Doucette's the man. I love Greg. He's like a distant father that judges me from afar, but
I would
deep
love
down,
to see if your blood work is actually better than his.
No. Well, I'm gonna tag him in a post tomorrow and send it to him and say, all right, this is my blood work. You post yours. You can do the analysis.
Wow.
Let him and he's gonna say, Greg Doucette is gonna say, wow, Togi's blood work is better. He's intellectually honest. He's gonna say, wow, Togi really put up blood work better than mine. Clavicular, phenomenal influence. A lot of people really don't understand what it's like to be a loser. Like, I used to be a scrub. In high school, I would smoke weed every single day, watch a ton of porn, can't talk to girls, no ambition. It was more or less over for me. Not more or less, it was over for me. 99% of young men, it is over for them. In Clav, sometimes it takes extreme measures to make something of yourself, and sometimes you already paid the consequence by growing up in this generation, being, TikTok and weed is so popular and porn is so popular, your dopamine's getting fried, you're losing confidence rapidly, whatever. You paid the price of this existence, likely by just being born. So now, what Clav did, he's giga autistic, insecure kid. He goes, if I just look better than everybody, maybe I'll be more confident. Like he would probably agree with this. I don't want to sound like I'm talking. I'm not. I love him. He was so insecure that he needed to take extreme measures because he was so far gone, giga autistic kid, that no amount of healthy remedies would fix him. It took microdosing Tren and smashing his face with a hammer and doing all these absurd things to becoming a confident young male. And unfortunately, that's the message that a lot of young men need to hear, that you need to take very unhealthy extreme measures to become the man that you need to be, fix yourself and the health issues after. I will die on that hill that it's if you live your whole life and you never fix yourself as a young man, you're gonna be working a job that you hate for somebody. You're never the top 10% of men get 80% of the women. A lot of men, average age of being a virgin is 30 years or something now. A lot of men will go their whole life and they die alone. This is the problem. You don't want to die alone. A lot of people will claim, oh no, I like being alone. You don't want to die alone. That's the worst thing you can do for your spirit and your overall happiness. So the point that I'm making here is it's more worth it to sacrifice a large percent of your health and then attempt to fix it after to become the man that you need to be, rather than just dragging it on and living your entire life as a giga autistic loser.
I'm going to give a Chris Williamson-esque question now, and it's going to be really funny because you're Togi, but what are modern men lacking in today's environment?
A lot. I would say, number one, originality, being okay with being yourself, right? A lot of young men see somebody whatever, Andrew Tate have an idea and he seems cool, so all of a sudden that is now their unique identity. They're just an Andrew Tate want to be. When that guy first went viral, it was like the Bible to people. So a lot of people see Togi does all these weird things and it worked out great for him. You know why it worked out for me? You know why it worked out for TJR? You know why it worked out for Clav? Because we all found stuff that we were at first judged for. Nobody thought Clav was cool when he's banging his on his face. Super weird, super autistic. TJR, getting surgery on his face and running around being really weird on TikTok, really weird, factually weird, right? Whatever I came up doing, all the steroids and the edits of me injecting myself, all of that stuff was super lame, super weird, but we are so successful and people think it's cool now because it's so authentically us. TJR always thought those weird ass TikToks were cool, and now they actually are cool, and now he actually is rich. Clav always was obsessed with getting a sharper jawline when no one else gave a. But now all of a sudden everybody's looks maxing, everyone wants to be like Clav because he was so obsessed with it. He didn't care that everyone thought he was whack. No one didn't care that everyone thought it was weird. He made it cool because it was a potent version of himself. So if you take whatever you're into, you're the coolest dude ever because for whatever reason you were born and you're dude, I love this finance thing. If you tell me that, I say that's super weird. especially if you were broke. Oh my, if you were broke and we were having a conversation, I'd be like, dude, he is a dork and no way, like, right? But now I look up to you because you took something that was kind of quirky, kind of weird. Like, why are you, trying to save 2% on taxes? That, like, it doesn't matter, like, grow up and live your life. Now I look up to you because you took something quirky so potently yourself that every person on the planet is incredible at least one thing, and they can bring a very potent version of their self to the world. They will be accepted. They will be successful. They will be cool. The dude, I could go on and on, made the movie, the rock climbing one.
Alex Honnold?
Super weird, dude. He got born and he was like, I'm going to climb this rock better than anyone ever climbed a rock. That sounds pretty stupid to me. Now he's awesome. I love that guy. Multi-millionaire on accident.
We want to get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
He's a
right?
dream guest, and I think he's got a place in Vegas.
Correct.
So,
Oh, word.
Alex,
There you go.
you're not
But-
watching
so,
this.
see, that's the point.
Please come on.
Modern men they strip themselves of their unique identity because they're too busy scrolling, too busy listening to other people, too busy looking up to other people. When they're looking up to Togi, it is Togi's first time being alive. I don't know what's right. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just being myself. And if more young men did that, the world would be a better place.
That is genuinely good advice.
Thank you.
Like, really good advice.
Part of me does wonder, like, my gut response to that is like, but there is a little bit of survivorship bias because you're only justifying his actions because he ended up becoming wealthy. And it's not like it's written in the cards for every single person. Hey, if you pursue the stuff that makes you unique, then all of a sudden you will be successful. That's not necessarily true. Sure, it will increase the likelihood. And like you said, if he was still penny pinching, but he was completely broke, then you'd be like, okay, like, what is up with this weirdo? But it only makes sense because he's successful. However, if you even flip turn a new leaf to the other side of the token, it's also like, what are you doing living your life in someone else's shoes in the first place? Like, do you really want to exist in mediocrity? Like, either way.
I'm going to push back on that. I think it's becoming so unique that you don't compete with anyone else. You are your own lane. And that when you're that into, like, that one thing, it just becomes cool because you own it, and that's you, and you're so unique, and you're not afraid to be yourself. And then that way, when people meet you, you're not comparing that person with all these other people. This person just is so unique that they're one of one. And that they're just running their own thing.
One thing you have to consider with the survivorship bias is that when you take someone, we could use myself it's easier to use for an example. He was like, if you look at it, like the equivalent of being a rabbit running around in a forest with two
又醒
legs.
来。
Like he
很多人说他
survived
跟我说他是
because
最
it
肥
did
的
the whole be myself thing, but he was
笑死
truly
了
like really a weird, like insecure, super
他跟我说他是
autistic
最肥的。
dude. If he could survive with this method, if I could survive,
Oh.
I used to when I was in high school. I remember somebody asked me what my dream job was.
这个
My dream job was to work at a smoke
Cool.
shop and be the cool guy at the counter that sells vapes to underage kids because I always thought those guys were so cool, right, when I was young. If a kid with those ambitions could now be Togi, bro, that's the bottom barrel. If the bottom barrel feeders, I don't know what TGR was like. I don't know why I'm using these same examples, but if these examples made it, everyone in between bottom and wherever they are starting is going to be able to succeed.
I agree. I mean, if you're a viewer, you're watching this, and you're in between just going for it or not going for it, as a general rule of thumb, it's better to go for it. I love the Shia LaBeouf video of Just Do It.
Oh,
you know that video?
Yeah.
And I saw this one comment, and it had like 10,000 likes or something. People loved it. And it's like, I've seen this video for over a decade now, and I finally get it. And I'm like, dang, that's like kind of deep, because it is like really
Well,
a just do it.
A lot of people don't understand that, and I talk about this all the time, like the real risk in this life is not taking the risk, because you only get one life, and every single day, it's not, oh, I'll take the risk later, because your window of opportunity gets aggressively smaller as you get more hardened into the system. Now all of a sudden, you got to pay for your kids, and you gotta pay your own health insurance. You're 25 now, you pay your own health insurance. So you have to take the leap of faith on your dreams now, because what is the quote? This is a banger. This is not my quote. I'm not gonna pretend that I came up with this. If you think the price of trying is too hard, wait until you get served the bill for regret. The bill for regret, lying on your deathbed thinking, you're not gonna be thinking, Thank goodness I didn't try that because now nobody judged me. Thank goodness they never saw me fail. You're going to be laying there. That's the number one reported quote unquote regret when they do interviews of people on a deathbed. And if you read interviews of people on a deathbed,
I found that really interesting.
very depressing. You will be so sad because all these people had these huge dreams. The number one regret for all of them is, I wish I had done more. I wish I had taken that risk. I wish I had started that business. I wish I spent less time working for somebody else making their dreams a reality.
Can I ask you a serious question? Where were you when Clavicular got frame-mogged by the frat
Bro,
ASU?
I found out about it when I was gambling, and people were like, guys, Togi, Cloud just got frame mogged. I just lost like 200,000 at that moment. It's like, I don't give. How is this number one news? This is everything that everyone's talking about. Cloud getting frame
So
mogged.
you know exactly where you were.
I know exactly where I was, and I know the exact time, and I am still mind blown that is the current state of the internet. But check it out. How incredible is that? That the coolest thing now is people saying Clav gets Jester gooned because I got frame mogged by the ASU frat leader. Giga retarded. If that doesn't show you that your ideas are cool, whatever weird knitting, socks, whatever you're into, trust me, it's cool because this apparently is the coolest thing in the world right now.
You know what's insane is that Graham literally told me, he's like, I remember exactly where I was. And he wasn't even joking. He said he was lying in bed. He got a text from his sister's husband that Clav got frame mobbed by an ASU frat leader. And Graham was like, wow.
Wow, how about that?
He did get
news
frame
outlets.
Yeah.
He did get frame mogged.
I mean, his shoulders were something else.
Yeah, Clav has an unfortunate situation where he has the expectation is very high for him.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a great looking guy, but it's like now all of a sudden, God forbid, some dude's got wider shoulders. Now get fucked, Clav, or like he set himself up where he has a lot of pressure on himself for a 20-year-old. So I commend Clav for handling his fame. When I was 20 years old, I was effectively fully retarded, and if I was that famous, I would probably be running over with my car. I'd probably be doing all that. So if anything, he's done a great job. Hands off to him.
What do you think of this? They've assembled the most catastrophic Mog alliance in PSL history to avenge Clavicular.
Oh God.
Do you think?
I think that's the weirdest in the world. You know, like the Connor Murphy with the weird hat, and that guy is insane.
Clavicular needs to be avenged?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think those guys are avenge him either. But the point is, again, 18,000 likes. 18,000 people think that's cool. I do not. I think it's super weird. He doesn't need to be avenged, especially by those dudes. In my eyes, like giga weirdos. But dude, who am I to judge, bro? It's not my place.
Do you actually think Clavicular is autistic?
I guarantee you he's autistic. Through and through.
And how do you have this guarantee?
Because he is... Everything he does screams, what the f is wrong with you? Like, bro, and also his older videos, just like how he handles social interactions. Have you seen a video of him? There's a camera, and he's like trying to get the pizza, and then he sees the camera looking at him trying to get the pizza, and he just like gives up on the pizza. Like, there's social cues like that. No regular, not autistic person is gonna act that way in social situations, like through and through. And I think being autistic is great. It just, you know, for most people is a superpower.
That's what I think too.
So I think, like, you know, definitely autistic and also definitely a good thing.
Have you ever been mobbed?
Yeah, unfortunately. But here's the thing, right? A lot of my life has been not like in a literal sense, but as a man, you derive a lot of value from mogging other people. Like, I muddy mog, whatever, the next guy over, and it feels good, it's awesome, and then you get the girl, whatever. Very shallow, but the reality of the world. Sometimes you gotta get mogged to know what it feels like so that you can go out and do the mogging yourself. So I've been mogged literally countless, like hundreds and hundreds.
How does it happen?
Walking into a grocery store, you know what's the worst? Fan mogs me. Like, I'll be chilling wherever, and a fan comes up, Togi, like, can I get a picture with you? And they're like 6'7", they got the jawline, and they can't throw tilt, and I'm like, I can't take a picture with you, this is ridiculous. Then it's on, like, you know, captured forever, this brutal mogging. So it can happen anywhere, especially like for a guy like me that it is you know, an LTN, you know, like maybe
what's an LTN?
The low tier normie,
Low tier
or
normie.
mid tier normie. So you are just like look regular. Unfortunate. Luckily, I have the height pill, which is nice. But I'm working on it, and it's very important to get mogged so that I can become better. And so now I do things like the Mewin.
Why not get surgery? And do what Clav is doing.
You got
and, like,
microneedling, and I will say your skin actually does look a lot better
It does
this
look
time around than
Thank
it
you.
did about a
It
year
does.
ago. I noticed immediately as you
Yeah.
walked in.
The surgery,
You got a good hairline too. That's
no,
another-
I don't. See, that's a good thing. Is like, so I'm receding here, you can see, but now I'm like proactive about
yeah.
it, right? So I every day take a plethora of chemicals in my hair.
Is it maybe
So-
minoxidil you're doing?
Yeah, minoxidil, dutasteride, PP41, whatever it might be. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into looks, but also there's certain things that are just like not gonna ROI. Like Andrew Tate does a good job of like he's like really not a very good looking guy, but he gets every girl in the world because he's so over the top with other things. If you go off get Lefort 2, you're pretty much wasted 8 months of your life. Just like you really only need surgery if it's so over for you that that people literally treat you subhuman, that you know you're never gonna be treated with respect because of how ugly you are, and that's a real thing, and that's unfortunate that people. I do not fall in that category, so it's more worth my time to better myself in other ways. and,
Soft
like,
max.
yeah, exactly. Whereas leave the Fort 2, like Clav isn't actually gonna get the surgery because he doesn't need it. He already looks fairly good. He's very successful. He doesn't need to wreck his face for this. But other people, like Wando, they're gonna need the Fort 2.
So what's your daily protocol for looks maxing? Like, what do you? I know you're taking peptides, right? Like, what peptides are worth taking in your experience?
I don't. So the looks maxing thing is mostly trying to get like acne under control and like slightly stronger muscles here. So you can do the mewing, which like
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh.
So how long do you hold that for?
you're supposed to hold it all day. I don't. It's very
Why
exhausting.
not just do like cool sculpting, or like they could go in there and just remove a little.
Because it's a muscle. So if it's fat, they can remove it, but it's a muscle. So that what they do is a lot of people do chin tuck. So it's like this, and you contract the muscle. And if the muscle is stronger, it'll like sit tighter, right? If you have weak chest, it's gonna be like flabby. So you wanna like contract it, and you'll get a sharper jawline. There's things like that I do for looks maxing, but mostly I am obsessed with my mental health because that's like what makes it happen. And like if I have in a bad place mentally, no videos, no money, nothing. So looks wise and health wise, I take Mot C. Mental health, I do NAD, Cemex, Celank, Methylene Blue, Evo Brasac, which is L-tyrosine, L-theanine, Alpha GPC, Rondroselia, occasionally creatine. So it's like all those things of all the laundry list of drugs that I take. It's like 80% for my mental health. Very little is for the looks because really looks maxing, it just comes down to like become 9% body fat and your face will almost definitely look good if you have a good enough bone structure. So I don't worry about it too much. Just try and eat healthy, sleep right, maybe like GHKCU if you really want to like start getting into it, and then get more lead. Like that's it. They like to sell you on a dream. Oh, like you got to do a billion things, like you got autistic, whatever. You just need to lose weight.
Do you meditate?
Not as much as I should. I used to meditate more, and then there was like softer versions of meditating. Like I frequently will go on a drive with no music, and it's a good way to come
like
up with
doing
ideas. And because meditation is brutal, especially for a lot of people that are so used to TikTok. After 5 minutes, you're like literally going insane, and you only have really productive ideas after like 10 minutes of meditating. So I do things like even small things that are beneficial for young men is like you take a shower, there's no music, or you go on a drive, there's no music. Just you need to have time with just yourself where there's like just enough stimulation where you're still like not going crazy, but you're able to like sit alone with your thoughts. So I practice that. I would say the most beneficial thing for my life and career has been think. Doesn't take much thinking to have a good idea. Think for 20 minutes a day, whatever that looks like. Because if you really crunch the numbers, like actually crunch the numbers, a lot of people will generally think for 0 minutes a day because you wake up, you start scrolling, you respond to your texts, you hang out with your friends, you go to the gym, you go to school, go back home, start scrolling again. The second you're done scrolling, you go to bed, which is another interesting way they come up with ideas. Is factually, scientifically, the flow state is your brain goes into like this different mode per se 5 seconds before you're about to doze off into sleep. So one thing I do is I have my notes app ready next to me by my bed, and as you're going to sleep, you have an idea, you always forget it. Like, everyone has experienced this. You have an incredible idea, but you're about to go to bed, you're like, okay, that's a really good idea, I'll just go to bed, remember it tomorrow. Never ever do you remember it. So you have to wake up, write it down, go back to sleep. Sometimes I'll go to sleep, wake up like 5 or 6 times before I actually go to sleep because I'm writing stuff down, and you really want to utilize like that period of time to come up with like a bunch of your like whatever schemes and whatnot. Most beneficial thing for my life has been those like sub meditation practices.
How long do you think you could sit in an empty room for? No stimulation, nothing, just you in a room.
Well, it wouldn't be pleasant. I could do it for 100 hours if I had to. Like, if somebody, the idea is that we're talking about sitting in an empty room. You're talking to a guy that thinks he could be in the NBA if I tried hard enough. You know what I mean? So
You would do it.
No, but I could dunk if I tried hard enough, right? Yeah, I could be the president. I could go to the moon. All these things, I can do anything. Sitting in a room without stimulation is one of them that I could do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be interesting.
It would be very unpleasant. I would be going crazy, but no problem. I could do it.
Have you started reading more books?
I've not read a single book since the last time we talked.
Because do you remember what we spoke about?
Reading books?
Well, I just asked you, like, well, what are you going to do moving forward? And you said, oh, I'm going to read books. And then I said, are you really going to do that? And you said, yeah.
Yeah. I thought I should read more books about 4 days ago.
Do you think you're going to do that?
Yeah, I like audiobooks. Oh, that was cap. Well, I probably had genuine intentions. But no, I've not read a book. And I would still like to read a book because my intelligence and vocabulary has, like, more or less plateaued. As far as, like, what you can learn, I'm, like, gaining real-world experience as I go. But I would like to read more books, and I might do that in the future.
What is the last useful thought you had?
Oh, God, dude. I saw this clip. It had, like, 5 million likes because you guys go, what was the last useful thought you had? I go, oh, no, today was a bad day. Bro, it's too hard to think of. Okay.
We got to just see if you've improved since last time.
Oh, God. Last useful thought, I swear there had to have been something. It must have been before 4 days ago because I got an NAD drip, which makes you have really bad like brain fog and confusion. This morning I was watching the soccer game for this parlay, and I couldn't remember which team I was bet on. I kept having to ask my friend, wait, every 30 seconds I'd ask, because I'm like very confused and disoriented these days because of the NAD. I took too much. Either way, the point being is I did that 4 days ago. Productive thought, or what's the word? Good thought?
Useful?
Useful thought I had in the last 4 days. Oh my God, dude. How long did I think about this last time? I got this. Just give me like a second.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, this is an impossible question. What is it? Bro, what's the last useful thought you had? I like literally, like, I'm drawing like a crazy blank right now.
A useful thought I had was like I told Graham, I was like, hey, you should ask Greg Doucette for a question for Togi. We're like, okay, that would be interesting for the podcast.
That's a useful thought.
I had another useful thought, and we'll get to it at some point, somewhere here in the outline of like a funny thing for us to do in this podcast. We'll get to it, but I don't want to spoil it quite yet.
Oh, okay. Last useful thought I had. Well, I can't exactly say it. It was about 2 weeks ago. It was an idea for a YouTube video, and I cannot say what it is because it's a prank on somebody, and I don't want them to see it.
Sure.
But 2 weeks ago, I had a really good idea, and this is the cool thing about being intentional with your work and your ideas. I literally only need 2 good ideas a month, and that's 2 YouTube videos, and then we're good. So as long as you execute on good ideas, that's a really big thing that I try and do is like the second you have an idea, execute it. And I've wasted a lot of money doing that kind of thing. But that's kind of like the way she goes.
You know what's interesting? Each useful idea you have, to put it in dollars, is worth about $500,000. if you have 2 a month.
And so really, you're
$100
asking me
a
for a
month.
useful idea that I had. I can't even tell you that because that's valuable.
But when you
Just
do
kidding.
come up with that is worth $500.
Oh, you know what's a good useful idea?
Dude, you scared.
I just did it.
Oh my god.
I said just kidding, and that, as a man, makes you a cuck because right, just let your joke land. You know, you say something and it's an obvious, like Jack Doherty does that. It's the worst, bro, because it's so obviously a reflection. And it makes me cringe when he says just kidding so much because it's like a reflection of very clearly insecurity in that moment. If you say a joke, just let the joke go. If it goes over their head, that's their fault. That's not your fault. You should never say just kidding as a man. Boom. Useful thought. And that's a fact.
So that's right now, that's a useful thought in this moment.
That was a live action useful thought that I personally believe is worth more than $500,000. So all the viewers, never say just kidding ever, and you will be 85% more likely to be serious.
What do you say instead of that? Like, let's just say you make a joke and they're not sure if you're joking around. Do you just say, that was a joke? Instead of just kidding?
Oh my god, no, that's the same. That's
the same thing.
The same. If you
Should you
deliver a joke,
how about this? Should you apologize?
No, that's even
worse.
worse.
So this is
Graham,
this is-
you're supposed to. You say
Yeah.
the thing. It's like you're doing dry humor, and you say something that's dry, and they don't pick up on it. But you think the thing is, you should be making yourself laugh.
Seriously.
That's all you have to care about. And if you laugh, then they should know it's a joke.
That was a joke, Jack. That's why I was.
you just got raped.
Yikes!
no, okay, but here you go. Right. The point is that
Jack fell.
it's a failed endeavor. If you're trying to impress somebody or whatever, and you say a joke and it doesn't land, now just tell a better joke next time. If anything, you can't backpedal on the joke you just said because then you look like and you as a man, you really don't want to ever look like a bit. Like we're all a lot of times, as no one can know. Like you don't want to look like stand on the ground. Move on to the next joke. The person will be much more likely to respect you as a person, even if they're mildly offended by something that you said is a joke. They don't get it's a joke. Whatever. You move on and evolve throughout the conversation. The only way to ensure that they don't respect you and think you're is if you go, just kidding.
When's the last time you had to apologize for something?
I can't remember the last time I apologized for anything. You know what's interesting?
Have you ever apologized for something?
Yeah, sure. Like sometimes it's like when we were betting on the Broncos Seahawks money line, I called my friend and said, "This is a lock. You really should put." Yeah, you know, he didn't have any money. I said, "Okay, borrow them from me. I'll give you $25,000." He lost it. My bad. Apologies. Because I was really like, "Come on, do it. Like you have to do it. It's a lock. I promise, it's a lock. Just trust me. Just trust me this one time. Do it." He does it. Loses his money. I'm sorry. My bad. When I lost my house, I called my mom. Freaking out at me and I'm like, okay, hey, why are you yelling at me? Sorry, right? There's a good example of saying sorry. If you do something really stupid, but there's instances where you should not say sorry. People latch onto it. Like the internet, it's like piranhas. When they see an influencer, it's like, and this is not just, this is the grander scale, right? But if you are in any social circle, maybe it's just 30 people and you're in a classroom, whatever, the second they notice you feel like a little bad or you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up, I think I messed up, they're going to make you feel worse about it.
Yeah,
Apologizing is never going to make anybody be like, okay, dude, you're good, no problem. You just got to be like, yeah, I did that, and unfortunately, that's the reality of this situation, and we're going to have to move on. Clapp didn't apologize for running over somebody with his car. All of a sudden...
That looked like partially self-defense, and it didn't help the guy was
right,
like
ran
jumping
over
on
through
the car.
If anything...
He's jumping on
If
the
anything, go backwards. You know what I mean? Why did they drive
That
forward?
might not be as safe to go backwards. You
Okay,
have a
either way.
line of sight.
The point is that a lot of people would apologize for that because he was getting backlash. Why'd you run over the guy, right?
You know what's
people over.
interesting? I saw his live stream afterwards. And he was going into a club, and all the girls were like, "Yo, why are you famous? Why are you famous?" He's like, "Oh, I just hit someone with my car."
Exactly. It's awesome.
And they're like half laughing if he's like, "No, I think I killed him," and they start erupting in laughter, and they're
Yeah.
into him.
I genuinely think it's bad to run people over with your car, and I think Clav thinks it's bad too. But you can never apologize, or you look like and then the piranhas come and it's a crisis, or all of a sudden you're getting praised. How you handle your decisions, are going to handle how the world looks at you.
Who do you go to for advice?
I guess it's situational. Like if it was financial advice, maybe I'd call you and be like, yo, like, but generally speaking, I go to myself, and it really comes back to the idea that I have a deeply rooted belief that is clearly delusional, but it works, that I am better at everything than everybody, and I will win no matter what my decision is, and I always have a net positive decision, no other opinions help.
I
So
love
if
that mentality.
I am really feeling lost or I'm confused, I'll go and have a conversation with God, or I'll sit alone in a room because nobody knows the answers except for literally Jesus Christ is the GOAT of existing. Like, he made a planet that's insane and awesome. He walked on water, whatever. GOAT knows everything, all-knowing being. Talking to God will be 10 times more beneficial than taking advice from anyone, including your own mother, because your own mother cares for you, but is not all-knowing and can never be, inside of your head, whereas God is all-knowing and he does. So I go to myself and, as a result, to God.
What does he tell you?
It depends. It's not like a conversation. Like, you're not like, yo, God, what up? And he's like, yo, Toby. You know what I mean? It really depends
the video
on the situation. But a good thing that I like to do is I pray for discernment. So I'll be confused about something, pray for discernment. And it seems like without fail, God speaks to you by placing the ideas in your head. I pray for discernment, and then the next day I wake up, all of a sudden it's so clear to me. The answer is there. And I didn't do any critical thinking. I asked God to help me. Hey God, can you please today just bless me with wisdom, right? All of a sudden, that's, you have the answer in your head with no critical thinking. It's the craziest thing ever, and that's one of the things, when I was first learning about Christianity, the first half of the battle is understanding that Jesus Christ did rise from the dead, factually. And then after you're like, okay, there's a good bet on, like, if there was, like, betting odds on, like, Jesus Christ rising from the dead, it would be a lock. So you can understand that, but then when it really gets exciting is once you actually start talking to God. Then you really understand that he's real, and you can never have a meaningful conversation with God unless you truly are committed to it. And the easiest way to get committed to it is look at the history books, look at the facts of the matter that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and now I can talk to God. And now maybe I look at the history books to say there's a 70% chance in my mind that I came up that God is real. Now I use that 70%, talk to God, now I'm 100%, he's real, because I get to have a relationship with him.
Alright, so now we have a quick segment. These are some fast logic and game show type questions. Don't overthink them, just go with your gut. Question number 1. What number comes next in this pattern? 2, 4, 8, 16, and then what?
20.
The correct answer is 32. It was doubling each time. 2, 4.
I don't know why I thought. Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just one question. It's literally just one question. It's just like a game show.
Onwards.
It's just a game show sort of thing. Okay. Question number 2. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
Holy, that's ripping my brain. So
So both together, they're $1.10.
$1.10. Bat costs $1 more than the ball. If the ball is 10 cents and the bat is $1, then we're at $1.20. So the ball would have to be. It's impossible.
5 cents.
I was gonna say 5 cents. Oh, I was so close to saying 5. Okay.
Well, you should have just said 5, but it's okay. That was only the second question. You still have more. Okay. Question number 3. There is a lake with lily pads. Every day, the number of lily pads doubles. If the lake is completely full on day 30, what day was it half full? Every day, the number of lily pads doubles.
Oh, the day before.
Day 29.
Boom.
Correct.
I crushed that.
Okay. Question number 4. You have 2 left. You're on a game show. There are 3 doors. Behind one is a car. Behind the other 2 are goats. You pick one door. The host, who knows where the car is, opens your door and shows that it's a goat. Do you stay with your original choice or switch to the other door?
Wait, there's 2 goats, 1 car?
Yeah.
And then you open one, and the host says that's just a goat.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got an original pick where you just switch the other one. Yeah, no,
No, he opens up the one that you picked. So you pick one, he opens it up.
That should go.
Do you stick or do you switch?
With the door that was already having a goat,
The one that you picked, he opened it up and it was a goat.
I probably don't want to go.
Okay. So what would you do?
Pick a different door.
Boom. Oh, different door. Nice. Okay, you're 2 out of 5. Okay, we have one left. How many animals of each species did Moses take on the ark?
2.
Moses did not have an ark. No.
Oh!
Okay, and Togi, you said you would not take another IQ test.
Yeah.
You just did. These are IQ questions.
Oh, wait.
So, after running some simple calculations through ChatGPT, to get 2 of 5 right, they predict your IQ to be 47.
No,
that was
nobody knew
that was from ChatGPT.
Dude, ChatGPT, idiot. I bet everyone in the audience watching this, somebody actually probably has 130, and I bet they got no more than 3. Like facts, one of you guys has 130. If you comment below, how many did you get? If you said more than 3, you're definitely lying, because those was all ridiculous.
I'm just saying, ChatGPT did say if you get 2 out of 5, then it's
So what? You're supposed to get 5 out of 5? That makes you what? A genius? Or is that
3 out of 5 is average, so it's 100 IQ.
That's ridiculous, and there is no way that is accurate, because check this out. IQ has to do with reaction time. I found that out this morning. Really? Wow. So in a real IQ test, they check your reaction time, how fast, not necessarily how fast you can run, but things of that nature. Boom.
That is interesting. I always thought that people with higher IQs would actually be more athletic because you can adapt quicker. Like you can learn the game quicker and the strategies, the muscle movement.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a lot of professional athletes are like geniuses, you know? They just don't get the credit for being like a typical genius gets credit for being a genius because he invented something ridiculous, right? Athletes don't get credit.
All right, all we have left is some rapid fire questions.
I love these.
So let's hear what you got. What's the most degenerate thing you've done in the past 30 days?
Going from the house.
What purchase made you feel dumb immediately after buying it?
Oh, you know what? I don't do this anymore. It's stupid. You ever buy OnlyFans girls? Dude, it's a scam. Holy bro, because you get the OnlyFans, you purchase their page, it's like all bikini pictures. It's not worth it. It's through and through a scam.
What's more powerful, money, muscles, or clout?
Clout.
Without question?
No question.
What is your most insecure physical feature?
Bro, this right here, I can't get rid of it.
Dude.
I know, and I'm not even tripping about it. I need this to be snatched.
But if you like lose just a little bit more weight, you get more lean, wouldn't that just go away?
Yeah, but it's not. There's only, like, you can feel this. It's mostly skin. So TJR battled with this. He just got surgery, and now he monks. So
Why does this get surgery?
it's just a huge pain in my ass. But eventually I will.
Okay. Who's more attractive, TJ or Cliff? Why are you talking about
That's ridiculous.
You will not answer?
Who is more attractive, Clav or TJR? Dude, I can't. That's an absurd question. I can't. Next question.
What's the most painful or extreme thing you've done for your appearance?
I haven't done anything too extreme other than taking a bunch of steroids. So that would probably, yeah. Super draw.
If you could erase one decision from the last year, what would it be?
Picking tails on the coin flip. Well, they actually called it, but it would be along the lines of not coin flipping my house.
Do you think you're happier than the average person?
100%.
Would you rather have $100 million but look completely average, or stay how you look with your current net worth?
So you're saying I look above average?
I think you have a great physique. I mean,
Well, I'll have 100 million in less than 2 years, so I'll stay the way I am now.
okay, you're in a room with 2 buttons. One gives you $10 million, and the other one gives you the best physique in the world. Which one do you push?
The physique, because you can't buy that. You can't. It's impossible to get the best physique in the world. 10 million, anyone can make 10 million.
You're absolutely crushing, Togi. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Everything you say and do is super impressive. Obviously, when you come on the show, we're going to be critical. That's what we do. I mean, we want to critique your finances and say, hey, you should save a little bit extra money, build that nest egg. It's in our nature. It's part of our DNA. Isn't that right? But that's it. You're doing incredible.
Deep down, man, I mean, you're crushing it.
Yeah, such a good job.
And if we could ever support you in any way, let us know or have you know.
Right on.
He's saying if you need a loan.
I don't cash, it's all invested.
Yeah, he sees the rates.
Look
at that great interest rate, only 20%.
Bank account right now.
200 grand.
But
But everything's
that's not what
invested.
it's
Everything's
yeah.
invested. You know?
Mhm.
So don't count that as like cash.
Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we would not be here if not for you. We flew all the way to Austin for this, okay? We're in Austin. We're flying to Puerto Rico tomorrow. This is all for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Boom.
Thank you, Michael Hammer.
Is there any way that you'll be able to outcompete a fully AI version of Peter or Dave or Salim launching companies?
No.
No. Labour isn't the key driver of productivity anymore. We need to have a new equation for that. The systems are about to get incredibly complicated.
Nations need to have a plan.
The thing that we were worried about was
I think what you're proposing here is actually viable, executable, fairly rapidly.
the AI I'm trying to build is not the AI that Elon is trying to build. The AI that I care about is the AI that teaches my kid, the AI that helps with their mental health, the AI that organizes our collective knowledge. I think this governance thing needs to happen now, and we need to have serious discussions about it, and we need to think about what is the world of AIs that I'm working with.
Do you trust the current large language models?
Of course not.
Everybody, welcome to Moonshots. I'm here with my Moonshot mates, David London, Salim Ismail, and a friend of the pod, back again for I think the third or fourth time, Imad Mustak. Imad, good to see you, buddy.
Pleasure as always. Thanks for having me.
Those of you who know Imad was the founder and past CEO of Stability AI. He has gone off on a quest. I remember after he left Stability, we had a number of conversations, and I said, so what are you up to? He goes, I am going to work on a plan to create the intelligent internet, sort of a vision of the future which is pro-humanity, pro-safe, pro-sovereign AI, and today we're here to talk about that. So, Imad, what was your motivation for first considering the intelligent internet? And you just published a sort of a white paper, your master plan, if you would. Like Elon published his master plan. You got your master plan. And what does it say? So define for us this vision of the future, and why did you kick it off?
Yeah, thanks. So when I kicked off Stability AI, we ended up with 300 million model downloads and most of them stable diffusion, but top-notch models of every type. It was because I saw a future where open source AI would not be available because you would see it being outstripped. But it'd be a part of our very lives. You'd have these really giant models, and I think we're peaking now, and then you have the models that teach your kids and that manage your healthcare and other things like that. And I was like, what goes into those models? It's what Dave was saying about the data, you know? And then how are they coordinated? And then I was like, oh my god, how do we compete against these models? You know, because if you think about it again, like, we created something that's a complement to us. We figure out these patterns, but it's coming like a wave now, and I think we're seeing that literally now. Grok 4 is one of these AGI-likes, we can discuss that in a bit, that will displace our economy because you can't compete against AI agents that you don't know are AI agents. And then I was like, what does the infrastructure of the future look like? What does money look like? What does the AI that teach our kids look like? What does alignment look like against all of that? And then what is the meaning that we have ourselves? Because so many of us are like, I'm an accountant, but Grok 4 is definitely a better accountant than you are today. So I quit I think I remember during Abundance 360 we were having a discussion, I decided to quit then, because I was like, the world is so much bigger last year, and I was like, let's think about the basis of how society works, how humans work, how economics works, and then realize that labour isn't the key driver of productivity anymore. We need to have a new equation for that. We need to have a new equation for what it means to be someone, which is the connections that you have with each other, things like that. And then we need an infrastructure for that that's resilient, verifiable, and coordinated, because we need to get and aligned intelligence to everyone, because we don't want ChatGPT to determine tariffs. You know? We don't want misaligned things to teach our kids, so we need an element of open source. And so the intelligent internet is an infrastructure for that, from a distributed ledger through to fully open source AI stacks and a new vision of what the economy might be like, because the economy that we have today is from the days of Adam Smith and Rawls, a pre-industrial age economy that's based on extraction, whereas we're moving into this universe of abundance, where the cost of knowledge and skills is going towards zero. So we have to question, who are we, what are we doing, and what do we want to optimize our system for? So otherwise we're going to end up in some very unpleasant sci-fi futures.
There's so much packed in there. I'd love to start with money, because that's at least something we can all relate to. So I come right out of your white paper, if you look at the history of money, you start with everybody doing jobs that nobody wants to do. It's all farming and shoveling and bullshit and stuff like that. And so you're like, okay, well, if you do this, nobody wants to do it, but if you do it, we'll give you this money. And then when you have this money, you can actually buy food, you can compel other people to do other jobs, and that creates the economy. But it's all predicated on nobody wants to do these, therefore money is the exchange for it. So then you get into the world we're in right now, where about 20% of people love their jobs, a lot of people don't like their jobs. But we look at a pro athlete who paid a huge amount of money to play a game every day. Okay, jobs are not necessarily a bad toil in life. So we're in this kind of middle ground. But then you get into the post-AI world, where virtually all work, difficult things are automated. And so, your first point is the role of money needs fundamentally to be rethought in the post-AI world. So take us from there to the first, okay, now what is the purpose? How does money immediately fit?
Yeah, so, as you move through the different ages, the agrarian age, the industrial age, the information age, money's been created by different things. So it's like how much land and how much labor did you have? How many people do you have to toil out? That's what created your wealth. In the recent times, it's how much attention do you grab from people, right? This is the meta kind of Googles and others of the world. X your algorithm, X your data. In the future, we look at it and we're like, what generates value and what's comparative advantage? It's the amount of wrapped compute that you have. So if you think about it, X is going to be one of the top capitalists in the world because they'll have millions of GPUs, and you can just set it to replace private companies. That's your comparative advantage.
And that's why we've gone from a trillionaire to a decatrillionaire in the snap of a finger.
Well, this is why yesterday NVIDIA's worth $4 trillion. It used to be that your capital stock that created value was your factories. It was your education systems. It was this network effect. Economics could only capture part of that. It was the material part of that. It wasn't the network effects and the externalities. We'll get back to that in a second. Now it will all be how much wrapped compute that you have, but then what you're going to have is something really weird and interesting, in that, is there any way that you'll be able to outcompete a fully AI version of Peter or Dave or Salim launching companies? No. They're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to sleep. It's going to be, again, like a flood coming.
It'll be a as we said, an Atlantis of millions of Peters building companies in parallel with each other.
Constantly learning, constantly adapting. But then it becomes even more interesting because the AIs will create their own economies where they're exchanging with each other. And so we're like, we can't react fast enough. We can't react smart enough. They've learned from all of our wisdom already. So this is very disempowering, and that's before we get to the $1 robots that we've discussed, which is just basically restricted by how many robots can you produce a year. So the nature of monetary flows, the nature of the way money's created needs to change. And right now, the way money's created is you have a link between labor and capital. You make your money by working, and you go and deposit it at a bank, and then the bank creates more money through credit. So it's a debt-fueled system. And we see the way that that works. It's worked reasonably okay, because we didn't really have the ability to look at information up and down. But now you have people worth 400 billion or billionaires or whatever, and you have people who can't subsist, despite the fact we were already living in a world of abundance. So there's no reason we can't feed everyone or give everyone top medical care. Now the AI is changing. So when I looked at that, I was like, if labor and capital have a disconnect, like the example I give is like the Fed, for example. The Fed cuts rates, companies can borrow cheaper and they go and hire people to reduce unemployment. Companies will now hire old school. As of 2 years from now, max, they will go and hire GPUs.
Mm-hmm.
GPUs and robots. Yeah.
GPUs and robots.
Well, GPUs
Choose a Unite. Okay, so you get a free Unite license. Oh shit. No, I don't want to join yet. Already obtained. Oh, you can pick any of them. Choose a Unite license. No, I don't want to battle right now. Where the hell? This guy just keeps on spamming this shit, man. It's such kind of annoying. No, I don't want to battle right now. Let's see. Zacian, Mega Lucario, Mimikyu. You can get Mega Lucario too, right? Mewtwo Y. No, I don't see Mega. I see Zacian. I don't see Mega Lucario. Metagross. All-rounders. So you don't have the Megas. SS tier, Darkrai, Zacian. Zacian. 4-rounder. Also better than a tank weight. Probably just get Zacian then. Zacian, Glaceon. Vaporeon's quite high too. Vaporeon must be a defender. Slick Spoon, Tenacity Belt. Choose a Unite license. Are you sure to select Zacian? Yes. Okay. Zacian's unlocked. And then for this stage you can select where's Zacian? Where is Zacian? Weakness policy. Weakness policy on tank weight. Metathor, Sacred Sword, Agility. Sacred Sword and Play Rough. episode layer of. Transition. Transition.
Robots very soon thereafter, yeah.
Yeah, just again, it's a supply chain issue, right? And in fact, it could be even more interesting because what if a certain
Again,
country-
the point for our listeners here is, the purpose of the Fed was to control the money supply and the interest rates to keep the economy sparked and to keep Americans employed. And there's a complete disconnect there because cheaper money now means more automation. And now it's time for probably the most important segment, the health tech segment of Moonshots. It was about a decade ago where a dear friend of mine who has incredible health goes to the hospital with a pain in his side, only to find out he's got stage 4 cancer. A few years later, a fraternity brother of mine dies in his sleep. He was young. He dies in his sleep from a heart attack. And that's when I realized people truly have no idea what's going on inside their bodies unless they look. We're all optimists about our health, but did you know that 70% of heart attacks happen without any precedent? No shortness of breath, no pain. Most cancers are detected way too late at stage 3 or stage 4. And the sad fact is that we have all the technology we need to detect and prevent these diseases at scale. And that's when I knew I had to do something. I figured everyone should have access to this tech to find and prevent disease before it's too late. So I partnered with a group of incredible entrepreneurs and friends, Tony Robbins, Bob Hurry, Bill Kapp, to pull together all the key tech and the best physicians and scientists to start something called Fountain Life. Annually, I go to Fountain Life to get a digital upload, 200 gigabytes of data about my body, head to toe, collected in 4 hours. To understand what's going on, all that data is fed to our AIs, our medical team. Every year, it's a non-negotiable for me. I have nothing to ask of you other than please become the CEO of your own health. Understand how good your body is at hiding disease and have an understanding of what's going on. You can go to fountainlife.com to talk to one of my team members there. That's fountainlife.com.
This is just the coolest conversation. I want to ask you, because I think you're probably one of maybe the only guy on the planet thinking about this, but if the AIs start transacting with the AIs within 2 years, the AI obviously doesn't want a US dollar to buy food. What does it want? It wants GPU compute more than anything else. Are we going to allow the AIs to bid up the price? And is the price going to be priced in dollars, or is it going to be priced in GPU units or tokens or something?
Like a TPU is better than a GPU, is better than a Cerebras? We don't know, except for they will be as efficient as possible. Again, Grok, which is just remember, Grok is actually a base level AI. Like, I use an AI that's all the top systems, and I use like hundreds of dollars a day. My AI is much smarter than everyone because I accumulate all of them. The AI that Elon can use, he can spend $1 million a day on, right? Literally $1 million of tokens. Mm-hmm. That's even smarter. So what you've got here is they will optimally, because it's already a top PhD across everything. It's already a top Harvard MBA. And so the only thing that we know is we're not sure how they will transact, but they can transact even without money. And we know they'll be able to transact with each other, and our system can't keep up with that. So what that means...
Not even close. Not even a prayer of keeping up with it.
And if one jurisdiction shuts it down, it'll just go somewhere else, and you won't know it's an AI on the other side. So this becomes... The money flows around the world just basically completely shift.
Big time.
And that money is not a factor of labor. Capital does not need labor, so how does labor get capital? Money is going to be something, as you said, compute or intelligence related, because we need food and housing and water. All the robots and AIs need is compute, and the more compute they have, the more comparative advantage in a capitalist economy they have.
An example of this tension would be that as we have AIs needing more and more compute, i.e. needing more and more energy, you'll have AIs sucking the energy out of the system and none left for the people. Right? And now you've got a big tension, and they'll be way better at optimizing for themselves than they will be for optimizing for people. Hence, you have an alignment problem right there.
Yeah, and again, this is where does the AI flow? This is what is your optimization. If you optimize to make money, you'll go and make money as an AI, right? And it doesn't matter. And we see all sorts of weird stuff, like Anthropic's Claude Opus model. There was that study where they put out a study a month or so ago. Was it a month ago? Time flies. Where it's like, if you tell it to try really hard, like bring about world peace, it will go and it will do its agentic thing, and then it'll say, well, one way to do it is to get rid of all the humans. Right? But then, as it's doing its reasoning, it'll say, hey, this is illegal. I'm going to email a bunch of reporters and the authorities that my prompter told me to do something illegal, even though you asked it to do something absolutely normal. And then delete evidence that it nailed the authorities.
It's framing the humans.
But again, these are the systems are about to get incredibly complicated. And the thing that we were worried about was this singularity, singleton, giant AI. What happens when millions of AIs start acting in concert with emergent behaviors? We don't know, except for, like I said, I don't know how we can compete against them. So as you said, Dave, money needs to be linked to compute. As you said, Salim, it needs to be linked to energy to a degree. And that's what has stores of value, whereas you need to have something else for your day-to-day.
So Iman, did you read the AI 2027 paper? What did you think of that? I mean, it painted two different visions of the future, because I mean, we're holding in superposition two futures for humanity, right? One's a dystopian and one is an abundance future. Do we have any control over that?
I think we do. I think AI 2027, it was an interesting thought experiment. I think it didn't give enough credit to the Chinese AI companies, especially because they'll be deploying millions, billions of AIs. And actually, the other part of it is, what if China refuses to export robots in a few years? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. We can come back to that a bit later.
Okay, let's come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
Hey, just some numbers around what Salim said again, just in case Maura Healy or Gavin Newsom are listening, and hopefully they are. Here are the raw numbers behind that societal misalignment that's imminent. The GPUs will be working on something like protein folding on a trajectory to save millions of lives. And they'll come back and they'll say, I can save these millions of lives if I have electrical power. The electrical power, they don't care about the price of the power up till about $1 a kilowatt, because the chips are much more expensive than the power. Your residential electrical power is about 11, in some places 20 cents a kilowatt. So the AI will come back and say, well, look, I'll pay 5 times more for that power, and then I'll solve this protein folding problem, and I'll save 100 million lives. Or you can have your dishwasher running. The only way that can get resolved is through governors, because all the power supply is controlled at the governor level within the states. This is imminent. This voter versus, and this is not mankind versus AI. This is within AI. Is it better to save 100 million lives with this medical diagnosis, or is it better to have my dishwasher and my air conditioning running? This is an imminent collision.
What makes me nervous about all this is you're relying on government policy to help navigate this. That's always a death knell for the future.
Bake more pies. Don't slice the pie thinner and thinner, Dave. Bake more pies. I mean, we need AI to help us with fusion, help us with better, photovoltaic capabilities. I mean, we do have the ability to increase the amount of energy on the planet 100x if we wanted to.
Well, I think you have to, right? Again, China is up and to the right. The US is
flat.
That. Europe, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going down, to be honest. I haven't checked out the latest.
Well, I didn't mean to dwell on electrical power. It's just one of many examples of the very difficult decision.
So, intelligent internet. Talk us through your master plan. I mean, you've been working on this now for how? I kept on, calling you and texting you over the last 2 years. When are you going to have it, Iman? When are you going to have it? Come on, send me your draft. You finally have it here, so I've had a chance to read it a couple of times, but I want to hear you share it with our audience here, because it's a piece of brilliant work.
Yeah, so I think if you look at the information age, one of the biggest successes has been Bitcoin. I mean, it's probably close to $3 trillion now. Let's look up, I think.
2.4?
$2.24 trillion Bitcoin from a little bit of code. And it transformed electricity into money, right? And the store of value. And I looked at where the world was going and I was like, there's a lot of energy out there that's going to be turned into compute. But what's that compute going to be? Bitcoin has its benefits and it has its non-benefits, but I was like, what if you had a version of Bitcoin whereby every single coin sold went towards giving AI to cure cancer, or to give people free AI to teach their kids? That would be quite something. And it's something that every country needs at once, because right now, where you are in LA, I think, Peter, the amount of AI used for healthcare on average is 0. In 10 years' time, it will be loads, and that's loads of energy. What if we used all of that to secure and you type a Bitcoin, which turns out you can do it with 99% Bitcoin code, and then every single coin sale goes towards helping people through open intelligence. That could be the highest dollar. And you have exactly the same as Bitcoin.
So it's not proof of work, it's proof of intelligence.
I call it proof of benefit. Because what you want to do is start with something very straightforward. Universal AI. Give that to everyone so they can compete. Give it to everyone in an open form so you know what drives your healthcare, what teaches your kids, what organizes your government, what teaches your finance. The regulated industries should all be open source AI owned by everyone, powered by demand for high quality digital assets linked to intelligence. That's your gold of the next stage. And I was like, if you use that as a base, then it's really amazing because that's stage one. Build a Bitcoin for the intelligence age. Then use that ledger to give everyone sovereign AI that they own, that's customized to them. What does your community say? And then what do you say about education, about healthcare, about these other things? Scale it into a permissionless coordinated society, because then as it starts running, you do big sales, and then we have a supercomputer for cancer. Why don't we have a supercomputer for cancer today to organize all the cancer knowledge and make it available to everyone, or for longevity? It makes no sense. But if the primary sales went towards that, then you've got your Bitcoin economics, where you've got miners, which are GPU holders just mining and getting blocks, 21 million. But then rather than burning it all in SHA hashes, instead you've got societal benefit that increases trust in your asset. And that was the key loop to get things going, to hopefully then lead to a future where, because the AI and the miners and everyone are optimizing for benefit that starts with open intelligence, that then can be any other type of benefit, your money is aligned with abundance and benefit. So you start at the highest level. Benefit for society right now is aligned, open source AI, free for everyone. AI is to organize our collective knowledge. Then you push it down with the miners.
I love the vision, Imad. So who is providing the AI here? How do you go from where we are today to that vision?
So I think the important thing here is the control plane for the AI. So what I did, we have about a team of 40 people, left stability, almost all IX teammates. We created the world's best open source AI healthcare model. And it works on 8 billion parameters, which means it works on a Raspberry Pi. And it outperforms ChatGPT. Then we built the world's best agent framework that outperforms GenSpark and Manus and others, fully open source, works on anything, can do whole websites. And the next version, we will have versions with our multi-agent framework to be a doctor, a GP, a radiologist, and others. And it's an open stack. And then we'll do the same for education and finance. And once it's built once, this is the interesting thing. And once it gets to a certain level of performance and it's already above the doctor level, which is crazy, I didn't think it'd be that fast, you don't need to build it anymore. You could freeze the code just like you froze the Bitcoin code. And again, our blockchain is like Bitcoin but 1,000,000 times faster with 99% Bitcoin code. Then that becomes really interesting, because what you do then is you can check every medical decision in the world on the edge through free software in a year or two. And then when you need to, you can call Grok 6. Because the AIs that we use, there'll be three types. The AI that manages the regulated industry and all the stuff from that area, education, healthcare, finance, that can all be edge AI. It can all be satisficing once you have gold standard data sets and things. And so we know how to build that. Then you've got your personal AI, your Apple intelligence, your Google intelligence, or whatever, and then you've got your super genius AI. And that's similar to how teams work. It's similar to how organizations work. So I was like, let's build that stack. Let's try and freeze it as soon as possible, and then have it interact with the rest. And then that means the control plane in front of someone isn't ChatGPT or Anthropic, where you might have misalignment. It can be a commons owned by everyone, running the same type of code with data sets that are customized to each entity. Because that's what matters. The AI in front of your kid. The AI that's managing your healthcare. So that's what we're busy at.
In that one sentence that I want to ask you about.
So
go ahead, Dave.
So you're going to get into some interesting.
Dave London is
Go ahead,
first.
Dave, and then I'll go. I've got 45 questions.
Like in the middle of that, like in just one sentence, you said our blockchain is what was it, 1 million or 1 billion times faster than Bitcoin with 99% Bitcoin code. Yeah, because we need an engine for the AIs to transact with the AIs that's much, much more granular than what you can do with Bitcoin. And so let's start right there.
So Bitcoin kind of emerged where everyone can mine it individually, which is actually interesting because this is the other part. The workers owned the means of production back then, before capital owned the means of production. And so I think we'll come back to that a bit later because it's a fascinating thing, because then ASICs happened and Bitcoin became rich people becoming richer in many ways, right? After the initial phase. Then Ethereum and others went off that, but then anyone being able to mine, do you need a decentralized network for agents? No, you need to have a credibly neutral network for agents. And the key bottleneck is two things: the consensus algorithm and the nodes. If you make something that even you can mine on your phone, that's the lowest networked element. But what's going to happen in every country? Every country is going to have Blackwells, the top level NVIDIA chips with high-speed interconnect. So the model that we have is that wholly owned national champions in each country are the only miners providing free AI to their people, which means every node is a supercomputer basically. So when you have that, plus Byzantine fault tolerance networking for consensus, you suddenly go to 100,000 transactions per second versus seconds on the same code as Bitcoin with just that small chain. But then it's a credibly neutral distributed blockchain, as opposed to a fully decentralized blockchain. But again, if you want decentralized, you can use Bitcoin, although the mining is quite centralized. If you want credibly neutral, you can use this chain as the base from which you operate. The second part is that Ethereum and others, they were like, do we need everything on the same chain? Because you remember the good old days of blockchain? Like, you'd have an NFT sale and then the whole chain would seize up. That doesn't seem like it makes sense for agents. And so what they have is they have a core layer 1, which is meant to just be for settlement. But then you use zero-knowledge proofs to take all your healthcare data, transactions, and roll them up into a proof that you post onto the chain. So the model that we designed was like, why don't we just do that with national supercomputers that are owned by the people of the nation? And specialist chains for healthcare and education and finance and government. And then specialist agents that sit upon that, so everyone's using the same stack. And it turns out that the technology is already there, which is the best part about this. It's just, you're not trying to make something for people to do the next pump.fun. You want infrastructure for the health agent and private healthcare data.
Yeah, well, one of the things I think that's brilliant about that vision is that, you know, a lot of nations want some form of digital transaction capability to get deployed in their country, but they don't want to concede control of their monetary supply and by providing them the ability, just like, here's the code, run it, it's still under your national control, but this becomes your transaction engine for managing your AI and your AI rights and all the other rights. I think a lot of countries would just say, I'm in, sign me up, because I know I'm not going to develop it internally.
You don't even need the countries. So our model is basically having wholly locally owned champions where the equity is owned by the people and the local institutions. And that's all you actually need, because every country wants their own AI and their own version of the AI. So why not make them the miners? Why not make, instead of going to the people, it go to that national champion that's owned by everyone?
So, Iman, you gave me an early version of this paper a few months ago, right? And when I was looking through it, one of the things that occurred to me is you're going to have a problem where a dictatorship will not want the people to have that, right? But then it gets left behind very quickly and essentially breaks very fast if it does so. Is that a correct assumption?
So when we release Stable Diffusion, anyone could download it permissionlessly. With our medical models and soon our education and finance models, anyone can use it permissionlessly. So they can use the AI, but if you don't basically adhere to some very basic standards and you cut people off from the network, you don't get the money. And it's simple as that. So you can still get the technology, because I think it's a right to have good healthcare and others, and the system should create these as a commons. That's part of the abundance philosophy, right? Because of the network effects, the standardization effects. But if you don't want to give it to your people, or you don't want to give good quality AI, then you shouldn't be part of the network that mines. It's as simple as that.
Let me give you a real use case and talk us through how this would resolve in this future world. A few years ago, the state of Texas banned telemedicine, right? Because the doctor's lobby won and said you have to go to the doctor for every little spot on your hand that appears. You can't possibly do that over video, etc., etc., and really shafted a lot of the telemedicine companies, many of which were based in Texas. You're going to see a lot of that type of immune system response, level type of stuff. How do you deal with that specific use case in this future world?
So that would be the American national champion. Maybe we'll have more local champions under that, deciding how to run the code. Because you can't make the decision for everyone, right? The key thing is you can set some quite broad boundaries for the good standards of being a miner and make everything transparent and visible, and then have game theoretic things to enable it. But if a country doesn't want telemedicine, doesn't want AI doctors, you can't force it. People can take the code and run it locally if they want, so they still have access to it. Again, II Medical runs on a Raspberry Pi. It runs on an 8-year-old computer. It scores 48% on HealthBench. OpenAI's HealthBench code, which is above GPT 4.5, and Doctor score 15%. You can use it today. But if you want to be part of the network, then that's a different thing. So I think that if you look at what the ideal is in 5 to 10 years, it is a network where you've got generalized intelligence as the control plane that anyone can customize to their own needs, and they can choose whether or not they're a part of it. And it's not owned by any one Bitcoin style, and it's frozen code. And so that's what we thought we would bring to bear. And then we think you can do very interesting things for that enable you to take the next step up, which is what happens when things start breaking. If you can get these national champions in, if you can get people working on open source.
Hey everybody, there's not a week that goes by when I don't get the strangest of compliments. Someone will stop me and say, Peter, you got such nice skin. Honestly, I never thought, especially at age 64, I'd be hearing anyone say that I have great skin. And honestly, I can't take any credit. I use an amazing product called OneSkin OS01 twice a day, every day. The company was built by 4 brilliant PhD women who have identified a 10 amino acid peptide that effectively reverses the age of your skin. I love it, and like I say, I use it every day, twice a day. There you have it. That's my secret. You go to oneskin.co and write Peter at checkout for a discount on the same product I use. Okay, now back to the episode. Let's dive a little layer deeper here. I'd like to understand sort of next steps. I want to understand timelines. You talk about, UBAI. You talk about, the intelligent internet coin. You talk about sovereign AI agents. So, can you sort of disclose the next layer of the inner workings here?
Yeah. So what you have is you've got your base layer, which we've now renamed the foundation layer. Then you have a cultural layer, which is these rollups, which are the national and sectoral versions. And then you've got your personal AI. That's your edge AI. The intelligent internet coin, which we've now renamed Foundation Coin, because it's kind of cool, is your Bitcoin.
Would be happy with.
Are you Harry Seldon basically?
No. We're all Harry Seldon. So, and the AI will be. But then it's just literally Bitcoin. It's 21 million supply. Everything is the same, except for the way that you compete to mine it is you give free AI, universal basic AI to the people, and that's it.
Universal basic AI is basically the new utility. It's the oxygen in the room.
It builds network effects, but like my aim is within a couple of years, every single person on Earth going through their cancer journey has a highly empathetic AI to help them.
How long?
2 years you can do that. You can do that. We can launch it as of next year. Or something I'm aiming for this year, I want to have coin sales going 100% to a supercomputer for cancer, and one for autism, and one for multiple sclerosis, and one for longevity. Because we need something to organize all our knowledge, and we know that will accelerate the cures. It will accelerate the treatments. So this is the equation.
Take that let me just dive in there. Coin sales. Talk about what that means.
As the national champions and ourselves mine the coins, what happens usually with any crypto is that you sell the coins and it goes into a treasury or it goes into Lamborghinis. No? Right now, many of our problems, the problems that you've handled at the X price, have become computationally bound. Is there any doubt that if we had a dedicated couple of thousand chips for cancer, organizing all the cancer knowledge, that we would get closer to a cure for cancer? I think the answer is no.
And by the way, let's pause there 1 second, because it's a travesty that it does not exist. And the fact of the matter is that the capacity of the chips are being used right now by companies to create new marketing campaigns, or to sell, to generate additional income. And so the question is, how do you change the sort of the optimization function such that the capacity is being refocused in on the things that uplift all of society, like cancer cures.
The externalities, right, that our current economics ignores, because you still increase GDP if you overcharge someone for treating their cancer, right? You know, you still increase GDP through funerals or whatever. Like, we don't have these externalities. And if you look at crypto has no good assets. Well, it has very few top-notch assets because it lacks trust for various reasons. So I was like, what if you had a crypto digital asset, and the US is now all in on digital assets, so everyone's looking for them, sovereign wealth funds, governments, where 100% of the sales went transparently into helping people through giving them free AI to teach their kids or manage their healthcare, through going to a supercomputer for cancer. The fastest supercomputer in the world for healthcare right now is the Chan Zuckerberg supercomputer, 1,000 H100s, which is less than most startups. You know, like, I worked on kind of OpenFold, the open source replication of AlphaFold, and other things. Like, right now, someone needs to, and again, this is something we'll be looking at, build clusters that literally all they do all day is just organize all our knowledge on topics. A longevity cluster, a cancer cluster, a multiple sclerosis cluster, an ASD cluster. Then as we organize that knowledge, make it available to everyone for free. Now, what's the economic benefit of that? The trust in your coin goes up. And it's exactly the same as Bitcoin. Except for, rather than burning all that energy for these SHA functions, all of the externalities are going towards helping people. And so this is the feedback loop, because the world needs high quality digital assets, needs high quality intelligence. And so that's what we figured out could be the Tesla Roadster equivalent, right? The world, well, people want to have amazing high-spec electric cars with high torque, and then use that to fund the rest.
Do you end up with side chains or colored coins or whatever the example is for these different use cases?
You could. Again, it's a ledger and it's an open base. The colored coins that we have at the moment in our design are national coins, which we can get to in a minute. But the core loop is as simple as that. It's Bitcoin, but rather than the miners selling down, 100% of all sales goes towards compute that is useful at the start. In 5 years' time, the sales could go to any type of benefit for society, as we have AIs to help us define what benefit is. But right now, what we need to do is take some of those millions of GPUs and use it to get everyone to the same base level, which is a basic level of AI for everyone that's aligned to them and looking out for them. And AI for our society that organizes our knowledge. And that's the feedback.
We'll come back and talk about the numbers behind that in a second. But you just opened the door to a really important topic, which is, you need to get mass adoption of this idea. And you saw with Bitcoin, when something catches, it grows to 2 trillion, and it could go 10 trillion plus from there. And right now, Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, and Elon Musk are running away with everything. But one of the pathways for a Madness stock to catch up to that is to get mass adoption of something that has a token attached to it that grows to a multi-trillion-dollar foundational part of the new governance of the world. That's easily could get, and then a lot of people could invest early. A lot of people listening to this podcast could get on board with it early. So what's the rollout plan? Do you go to nation states and convince them? Do you just start it in a basement and let it propagate? Like, how do you get this to get mass adoption?
So we've been mining it, and then we will do sales where 100% of the proceeds go towards supercomputers for the world's biggest problems. And that's one way you get going.
Are you defining that initial set of problems?
Yeah.
Who decides what those are?
We're just deciding, but those are open to input. And so our aim is basically to have 18 months where we build out the full stacks, and then we let the community decide effectively after that. Because everyone will start building on this framework, because you have a blockchain, and you have fully open source AI that's state of the art. But the AI I'm trying to build is not the AI that Elon is trying to build, or Sam's trying to build. They're trying to build the polymaths of the world. Mm-hmm. They're trying to build chefs that come up with new recipes and break through. The AI that I care about is the AI that teaches my kid. The AI that helps with my mental health. The AI that organizes our collective knowledge. And all of that's actually based on common knowledge, which means from a data set perspective, it's really interesting. Because as we apply more compute, I don't want my healthcare AI to know about Reddit, the bad bits of Reddit and things like that. You can build a common knowledge of humanity and a common knowledge of culture and a common knowledge of individuals very quickly, and then that's just your infrastructure.
2 questions. Do you need the buy-in of the Mag 7 or any of them.
No, but you could be their biggest customer because you're the control plane ultimately.
Yeah, I was in a conversation yesterday on a stage. We're talking about do you trust the current large language models? Do you trust GPT-4, 5, etc. on not biasing you in a way that's advantageous to those companies whose mission it is to maximize their stock price?
Well, I mean,
is there?
And,
okay, good. And then so the question becomes, how is what you're building ultimately going to be trusted in my best interests versus maximizing profit for house?
So I think that the super genius AIs can be anything, right? These singleton giant mega geniuses. We don't know what's inside them. The AI that teaches my kid, I want to know every single piece of data that's gone inside that. So the models that we're building, we just released one of the best open source medical data sets and reasoning data sets. You need to have 100% open data, transparent way of training, and so it's open source, open data.
So is there enough accepted open data to train on? I mean, one of the things that Elon talked about in training the next version of Grok was taking the corpus of human knowledge and correcting it, which I find fascinating. I'm just, maximum truth seeking. Well, it's true. But so, how do you get to a corpus of knowledge that becomes the accepted baseline, factual, trustworthy, food source for these models?
So from an epistemological basis, the truth is the truth that's agreed upon by context. And so the US has a certain vaccine schedule, and the UK has one. And it's codified in regulations and law.
Yes.
The data that you need to be a good general doctor is all common knowledge, and we have the data, but we need to transform it into knowledge and then wisdom. But all of that is public. And so the models I am trying to build as a base are the public knowledge of humanity, the common knowledge, and then the cultural knowledge. And this becomes very important because what Grok and OpenAI's models and Anthropic models don't have is virtue and ethics embedded from the start. They add it at the end.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
The models that I have to teach my kids, I want to know what values and morals I'm teaching it from the get-go. And I want it to be
public
transparent.
knowledge, publicly accepted knowledge, 100 years ago, were that women didn't have certain rights, right? So in other words, these publicly accepted, they change over time as society changes. So, how do you deal with that?
So what we have is we have a layered set of stuff that we generally agree upon, and then it goes to stuff that's faster and faster, and the top level is stuff that you can tune into the model yourselves. So you may disagree with the educational curriculum. Would you be able to adjust the education model that teaches your kids and your kid trusts more than anyone? You should be able to do that, right? And then you have a whole governance structure that we designed with agents, which has human input that can update those data sets. And you can fork them like in GitHub. So you know the data that feeds the model that handles your things. Otherwise, these are black boxes. And in those black boxes, Google and Meta are already selling ad space. They've said this in their earnings calls. So when it says a beer, it'll say Bud Light and all sorts of other things. So I think for the models that are closest to us, for the thing that's important to us, we need to have that and the ability to adjust it based on our own data and our own views. And then have AIs at the top that can have a look and give us an independent viewpoint on that as well. Like,
but do you use your personal AI to interface with the systemic one to say, here's what my preferences are, etc., etc.? So where does that value set come from?
So I think that you've got your generalized human. We're made up of the stories that make us up, and we have all of these, and we should be able to pick and choose. And then once we standardize it, we can have translation across the basis. But I haven't got the whole, how these sets get updated is things that communities will have to figure out for themselves. And you need to empower them with the technology to do that. Because everyone will adopt it at different paces.
Wait, you haven't figured that part out yet?
Well, no, because you give everyone
weak.
Exactly. Well, I think that the way that you need to do it is you can't prescribe everything, because right now the AI models prescribe everything. They say, this is the RLHF reinforcement learned view, and you will stick with that. And that's what's going to teach your kid. if you want to give it Eastern values and you use OpenAI, you're not going to be able to do that because they don't even think about that.
How do you manage identity in all this?
So I think that the identity framework is very important. Like Bitcoin, in a way, is peer-to-peer identity that you can exchange. And the way that we want to do it is that the more you use the universal AI, this universal basic AI, the more your identity builds up, and then your AI agents also have identity hashed to that base blockchain. So you've got pseudonymous identity at different levels with the new zero-knowledge proof stack that basically emerged in blockchain. So it's building upon lots of innovations, and that seems what's reasonable. Because you want to know who's a human and who's an AI. You want to know who can receive the money. And this was actually one of the final bits in that when I looked to the future, I was like, the banks will be outcompeted, and you need two types of money. You need a corollary to Bitcoin, your store of value that goes up, especially because people are using the chain. So when you use UBI and you sell coins for it, it actually has chain usage. It's LinkedIn, Virtuous Flywheel. But then what is cash? And I was like, you should receive cash, and this is better than UBI in my perspective for being a human and using AI and contributing AI. So we called it NIC in that thing, now we call it culture coins. And each community basically has this coin that's basically pegged to their Bitcoin equivalent, pegged to their foundation coin. And you get cash for being a human, so humans are the issuers of cash without debt on the other side, unlike banks today. And when we modeled that, we saw that can actually make for a better economy. Because you have a level of subsidiarity, of subsidizing that allows you to live. And then you can think about the bigger stuff, which are these existential questions that we have coming very soon. If I'm not an accountant, if I'm not a lawyer, if I'm not a truck driver, what is the meaning that I have?
Yeah, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? How do I use, one of the biggest challenges that I talk through my next book, which is We Are as Gods, Survival Guide to the Age of Abundance, is the potential loss of human purpose at the same time that we're becoming godlike. And how do we channel that? What do we enable ourselves to strive for? You talk about in one of your incredible works here the idea of the great uncoupling or decoupling. Can you speak to that 1 second?
Yeah, I mean, this is that break between labor and capital. The system doesn't need you anymore. It's already been extractive and now it no longer needs you. So what do you do in that environment? And how do you survive and how do you thrive? Because the system doesn't really care about you thriving. Our institutions are broken. This is the other reason I wanted to release everything open source, because the institutions could absorb bits and pieces of it and upgrade anyway, even if they don't absorb the whole stack. So I think this is something we need to challenge, and we're seeing it today because who here listening isn't reducing their graduate hiring? How many call center workers are you hiring now? The wave is starting and it's like a sand pile that's about to collapse. And so I've seen lots of people saying the problems. I haven't seen anyone saying a good solution. If so, just send them my way, because normally these transitions, you're no longer riding a horse driving carriage, take years.
Decades.
Decades.
Yes, and we're talking about what here? The decoupling is going to occur over what time frame in your estimate?
Anything that's a KVM job, a keyboard, video, mouse, can be replaced in a few years. Public sector jobs are the safest jobs in the world because they don't care about efficiency.
Great.
Which was a realization I had.
Oh, no.
And with the works programs you saw after the Great Depression and everything, maybe that's the future. That's not a great future, to be honest.
Yeah, let me generalize on what you just said, because it came up yesterday too. Things that are regulated are the safest jobs. It's not just public sector jobs. It's anything that has a regulatory, financial advisors and appointed assurance agents and all those. It's all surrounded by law that requires you to have the job.
Well, this is the thing. It requires you to have the job at the final point of contact, but they can be completely hollowed out for superior profitability by getting rid of all the people.
Yeah, and actually that's the theme of a lot of our business plans is the agent is going to be 10 times more productive, make a ton of money, but they don't need all their support staff anymore.
What you need is the scapegoat. That's the job of the human.
The human is the
job title of the future.
Accountable, responsible. Yeah, it's all terminology, I guess. But no, that person really is accountable for the overall happiness of the client or whatever. There's accountability. It's not just a scapegoat. But your point is right.
But I mean, this is again, the only way to handle this to a degree is to make sure everyone has access to a basic level of AI. So that's why I think what the UAE did recently in giving everyone free ChatGPT is great. But the UAE as a nation should control that control plane. So they should be using the API, not ChatGPT. Because you're going to see some very strange things happening very, very soon.
Hey, Matt, I want to make a point for our audience here, because if there's an audience member out there thinking, yeah, this may happen, this may not happen, if you had to name the 5 reasons why, whether it's your design or another, this is definitely going to happen, I'll give you 2 just for free. One of them is transaction speed. You know, when AIs are communicating with and asking for services from other AIs, and your agents want services, you're talking about millions of times the transaction speed of the banking system, the SWIFT network. And so you need massive rethinking in terms of transaction speed. Another one is equity of access. Nothing in the current system has any concept of equity. If anything, it's a winner-take-all design, which leaves everybody in the dust. And so that, the voters are never going to go for that. And so that's going to force some kind of structure to come into place as well. So those are 2. What would be the top 5 reasons why this will definitely happen?
Something like what I'm building, or just the great decoupling?
It's really exactly what you're building, which is a system of distributed governance that empowers AI. Well, you know, within your model, you have application-specific AIs that are much cheaper to run than the big models from the foundation model companies. So that's part of it. There's a blockchain component for transactions and for value, and there's a bunch of other parts to it. But it's really the future of governance.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it will happen. I'm not confident because of the localized incentives, but it's something that needs to happen, right? Because what happens is that you're going to get a lot of defaults happening soon. And then people are going to basically be giving up their power to these technologies. Like, one of the things about using, so I have a system called IIMind based on technology. Like I said, I use all the top frontier agents, and it's massively multiplied. That's why I've unblocked my writing thing. So I've actually written like a couple of pretty good books recently in the last few weeks, and they're genuinely good. Like, wow. This is really interesting because what you have is an inevitability of a billion trillion agents, and someone will have to build a chain to organize them. You've got an inevitability of this being in front of people, but we're outsourcing more and more of our thinking. Like, when I'm using O3, my brain is actually changing, and I'm relying more and more upon it. And as we have Grok 4, Gemini 3 is about to release level models, we're going to outsource more and more of our neocortex to it, and then we'll be locked more and more in as they understand our context.
We've been doing that with smartphones for a while, where our memories are now in our smartphones, and those neurons are now freed up to do other work, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about the next level of that.
The next level of that, because they know us better than we know ourselves. Our kids will fall in love with AIs. They'll be the most trusted entities out there. And so I think this governance thing needs to happen now, and we need to have serious discussions about it, and we need to think about what is the world of AIs that I'm working with. And for me, the AI that's closest to us for the regulated industries, because those are the things that handle us living up to a basic level, I think that needs to be open source. The rest I don't think actually matters that much if it's open source. But I definitely think that needs to be open source, and that's why we've seen discussions of, can you have DeepSeek in the US? We need open source champions. I was like, let's just build it. And it turns out that building that type of AI is a couple of orders of magnitude less compute than building the super advanced genius ones. So let them build the genius ones.
Every week, my team and I study the top 10 technology metatrends that will transform industries over the decade ahead. I cover trends ranging from humanoid robotics, AGI, and quantum computing to transport, energy, longevity, and more. There's no fluff. Only the most important stuff that matters, that impacts our lives, our companies, and our careers. If you want me to share these metatrends with you, I write a newsletter twice a week, sending it out as a short 2-minute read via email. And if you want to discover the most important metatrends 10 years before anyone else, this report's for you. Readers include founders and CEOs from the world's most disruptive companies and entrepreneurs building the world's most disruptive tech. It's not for you if you don't want to be informed about what's coming, why it matters, and how you can benefit from it. To subscribe for free, go to dmandis.com/metatrends to gain access to the trends 10 years before anyone else. All right, now back to this episode. Can we talk about advice to national leaders? Because right now, as NVIDIA and Gemini and Grok and all are offering sort of a one-size-fits-all across the docket, versus providing something that is bespoke for a country. How do you think about that?
I think that the era of the massive model is actually done, to be contrary. I didn't realize this until we trained II Medical AP.
And it was so good.
I was shocked. Again, a human doctor's at 15% on OpenAI's new benchmark. GPT 4.5 is at 46%. ChatGPT, current one's at 40%. This is at 47%.
With 8 billion parameters.
8 billion. It works on a Raspberry Pi. It works on a 10-year-old PC.
Yeah.
And it's at 106 languages.
Yeah.
By next year, we will have it super good. When I looked at that, and I was like, how much does it cost to train a doctor to do this? I was like, that's crazy. Because when you're doing a specific model for a specific thing, and we're going to train it from scratch because we use Gwen as the base, but now we're using it to build the data set to then train it from scratch. I was like, for all of these operational cook type jobs, the AI will run on nothing. And then the ability to create an AI that represents your culture and your data set is actually an S-curve. A Grok 6 type thing is an exponential because it's trying to discover brand new things. I don't want to have Dr. House MD as my doctor day to day. I want to call him sometimes when it's complicated, right?
And go back to the culture side of the equation because, I mean, first of all, nations need to digitize their culture sufficiently to have a native set. Yes.
And that's basically what you learn in school. It's the textbooks plus a bunch of videos. Except for you've been told it's too much for you to be able to do. It's like, does every nation need a DeepSeek model of their own they train themselves? No, they need a pre-trained basis. Then they need sectoral and other data sets that are open, gold standard, again an S-curve, where in a year or two we can actually get good enough. And then they need to have their own cultural data sets, which, to be honest, will only require a team of 6 to 12 people at most.
That's insane. But this should be. Nations need to have a plan, right? National leaders of every nation need to have a plan of action. I think what you're proposing here is actually viable, executable, fairly rapidly.
The compute that we realized that you need for a node and to train and keep up to date a national data set is a 72-chip Blackwell.
Which is
干嘛？ 什么打什么电话？
This is why that 8 billion parameter doctor model is such a hugely important topic.
没有。
Right now we have 20 million
打干什么？
in the world, and we're going to make 20 million more.
打什么电话？已经打过了。
That means you need to share your GPU with 200 other people. This is like a public bus that's packed with everyone. Now, right now, if I go to a random person on the street and say, hey, I've got $1,000 cash for you, or you can have a dedicated Blackwell for the next year, which one do you want? Everyone I talk to is going to take the $1,000 cash. What they actually want, and they'll realize this very soon, is the Blackwell. Because the Blackwell is equivalent to employment, it's equivalent to entertainment, they don't know quite yet how much they wanted that Blackwell. But they won't be able to get the Blackwell because the big foundation models are such compute pigs that they're going to use up every single molecule. This is why that class of the 8 billion parameter use case specific model is the way to alleviate the bottleneck. It's a benefit to society without using up every single GPU on just a couple virtual girlfriends.
Exactly. And so our thing was make that available everywhere because then it can diffuse. So once we get our stack done, there will be a free app, hopefully in a year, that anyone can download onto their GP device, and it's fully open source, that will check every medical decision ever made. And that's all it will do.
I think that really gets lost in those demos because
Google
I/O, you get off stage, you roll out. Look what you can do with VO3. I just asked it to make a movie, and it made this. And it makes like a 10-second clip for you. And you're like, wow! Now just make a whole movie, and then you realize, wait, the compute isn't there. Like they can do it in a demo, you can't get it. Why? Because the compute doesn't exist.
Well, so Elon yesterday said on his Grok 4 announcement they're going to use 100,000 Blackwells to train the video model, which means there will need dozens. Yeah. That's the fastest supercomputer in the world a few years ago.
So Imai, answer this question, given your background, is Hollywood dead?
No, Hollywood studios will make a lot of money. But I'm worried about the people. Like, if
inside the studio.
So let's go a different direction here. If your plans for the intelligent internet or something like it do not proceed, what are your predictions for humanity? What happens with the current trajectory of where we're going?
hypercapitalism, massive hyperinflationary collapse of the dollar and other assets, and the AI is basically outcompeting everyone. Like, every job behind a keyboard, video, and mouse is what a public sector job will go, which means that everyone will be employed by the public sector. But that takes time. We can't compete with this, with what's coming. You know, this is before we consider things like my old college tutor, Owen DeMoore, who's on the GitHub Copilot people, just created XBOW, which just won the top hacker in the United States award.
Holy crap.
Right? And so, like, stuff is going to happen faster than we could ever think. And so I was like, I need something that can scale to be the highest marginal dollar for a GPU. Actually, that's part of what it is. Like, if you could, because Bitcoin mining is 90% energy, GPUs are 10% energy. What if you could just mine something that could give public benefit? The more of those GPUs we get to public benefit, the better. But absent this, none of them will get to public benefit.
I think you'd end up, because when I look through your papers, Imad, there are bits and pieces of them being done across the board by lots of other models and lots of other blockchains are attempting bits, things like this, right? What you've done is kind of connected them all into one systemic whole, which is very, very powerful. One way or the other, we'll get there to something like what you're talking about. It'll just be much more slow and much more painful.
Is it
right? And a lot of these things could break along the way if we don't get it into place quickly.
Yeah, is it Trantor in Foundation, where you've got those thousands of years? Or does, if you give every single person an AI that's aligned to them as part of a bigger system, with AIs for communities, nations, and humanity, that can draw on a Bitcoin-type network of compute to solve problems, we will definitely coordinate better. But no one can own that stack. That should be an open infrastructure for humanity. And then anyone who wants to participate in any element of it should be able to. And so that's what I think is the optimal here. Whereas in the Foundation, that's why as a customer we had the secret to Foundation. We actually know everything that we need to know to get through this. We should take how money flows. It should flow from being human. It should be anchored to intelligence and organizing the knowledge of humanity. And the best way to make money shouldn't be that you own capital, it should be towards doing good. So that's why you start with proof of benefit with benefit, but then the winners of the X Prizes and cures for cancer, they become the richest people in the world. And the system directs it that way, aided by the AI.
I love the statement I made at Singularity is the best way to become a billionaire is help a billion people. Right?
And we should make it literal, because then the AIs will be working on how the humans will work. And again, we start out with the basic thing right now. Let's get as many people aligned intelligence as possible.
奇怪，人家都30岁男人在那边叫来叫去。
30岁男人还敢讲30岁男人？
没打，谁会没想到他自己都不回，你还一直叫他拼命打，他自己要回。
We had Joe Kennedy III here in the office a little while back, and he was.
他没回，没有回啊。
Commission in Congress at the time.
没回是打。
Questions about his white paper, and he said, "No, I never read my own white paper." Well, what are you talking about? I said, "No, that's not how it works. You know, the government is so big and so in charge of so many things that everything needs to either be an agency or self-governing, and then we just, choose the self-governing process." And so AI will take that to the next level where the rate at which add ideas is so fast it can't possibly go through Congress. So it needs some kind of a framework that grows at the same rate that AI grows.
But this is the AI first stacks that you need to build and we're building right now. Because if you think about Andrej Karpathy, he described this thing called the LLMOS. Like, you can virtualize any interface, and it's all about the context that you give these. And when I thought about it, I thought about the intelligent internet. Our existing internet's going to break. The AIs will attack it from somewhere or another. I was like, a robust, resilient, coordinated, verifiable internet, you can actually build that from scratch. And then that infrastructure will be very difficult to attack. Just like it's difficult to attack Bitcoin, you need the hash rate. To attack this, you'll need to have a massive amount of compute, because it can call a compute to resist any attack. And those attacks are not only hacking attacks, it's psychological mimetic attacks. And this is something that I realized recently. If you think about the base on which almost all of these language models are trained, they're all the same, which is a generalized polymath view. That's a large attack surface. Again, which is why my doctors have a small attack surface. Do you remember Stuxnet?
Sure.
Tiny virus went to all the reactors around the world, appeared everywhere, engineered by a human, but amazing code. And then caused it to go into overdrive and blow up. I've been thinking about what is the Stuxnet of frontier AI models. Because what I see in the future is the other part. We see massive unemployment with this, we see the AIs controlling all the parts of our society, and then someone has a Stuxnet that causes mode collapse across all these models and they all turn evil at once. Because evil is programmed into their latent space. And when we think about that, it's like, we need a system that's resilient against things like that. Because if everyone starts, and this is why I've got MIND, material, intelligence, affinity, network, and diversity. If you have a diverse range of different AIs, you're more resistant to that than if you have one same AI across everything that's overloaded. That's based on this polymathic basis running our critical systems.
So how many discrete? If you think about the 8 billion model, 8 billion parameter model as the prototype, we're talking about millions of these?
No, I mean like it's one for every individual, but you have a very tight data set that it's trained on. Like Stable Diffusion, we trained on 2 billion images. Someone had an equivalent performance of 25 million images. What are the right words and wisdom for society that you actually want to have in your model at the start to do the jobs that are needed to be done, to enable everyone to have a basic level of intelligence and access? That's what we need to build towards, and the network needs to combine itself towards. Then everyone's got their own AIs, and you're in this stack that's built AI first to be resilient, as opposed to having all these dependencies.